Being able to stream from home on a Saturday is such a rare occasion, I tell you. I mean, it feels really nice to not have to go up to Starbucks and sit in the parking lot and deal with all the buffoonery that tends to go on over there. I, you start to kind of realize some of the things you take for granted, such as just having a place to stream. It's really, really nice when you get to, have that. I didn't even know that was a luxury, but if you see how ridiculous and absurd a lot of the stuff is, even something as minor as, hey, can I have somewhere once every Saturday to talk for 2 hours without interruption? Just even that's like too much. But it won't be for this particular weekend. There's quite a lot of stuff to discuss. I did not call that Secretary of State again because I mentioned before when I had that conversation with them last week, it very, very much upset me that it was a bunch of people sending me to different numbers, and then the one person or that woman like got mad at me over me mentioning that I was being transferred to a number that was disconnecting over and over again, and then transferred me to the same number that disconnected over and over again. So when that happened about 3 or 4 times, I just said to hell with it, and I'm gonna try to find some point this week where I'll call the city, the one in my city rather, instead of the statewide one, because we don't need to deal with any of the creeps from Sacramento. Um, I had some job interviews. I guess I could get into that for a second. The first one was supposed to be for I'm forgetting whether that was some kind of, I think it was a retailer, some one of those places. Anyways, they were supposed to call me on Monday at it was 1:30 or 1 o'clock, one of those two time periods. And so I did my stream on Monday and I made sure that I was available. I finished the stream before they called, or they were supposed to call, and heard nothing from them. So I reached out the next, like later on the day. I'm like, hey, I've been waiting for hours. What happened to the call? And this guy's like, oh, sorry, somebody will reach out to you shortly. And then this other guy starts calling me at like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And basically it turns into phone tag where, because now there's no schedule, I don't know when he's going to call me. So I just have to like sit by my phone all day and wait for one of them to call. And so he eventually just doesn't even answer and is like, "Oh, call me back tomorrow." I say, "This is really stupid. I called these people, like I waited for them to call me at the time that they scheduled, and they couldn't even call me." Speaking of calls, I'm actually getting called by some stupid spam number. But I said that's really crazy that like they set up a time to talk to me, and I'm here for that time. I'm available when they want me to be available. And then what do we get? Crap, nothing, just a complete waste. These people are not available when they say they're going to be, and then they expect you to like acquiesce and bend over to their petulance by sitting by the phone all day when one of them decides to finally call. That's BS. So they say something about calling the next day. I just say the hell with it because, like I said, I called them and reached out at least twice, and if you count my text message, that's 3 times in one day where I was like, "Hey, what happened?" And then I called the guy, and he just kept not answering. The day after that, there was some interview in person at some other place. I punched that thing into Google, and I saw that it was a like a 50-40 minute drive, and I just thought about how during the first week of this month, I went to 7 different interviews, and more specifically, I drove to several different interviews that were in some cases an hour away, in one case 2 hours away. And I just kept thinking about how crazy it was that in almost every instance where I would travel like far away or to somewhere that's not close by, I would get effectively the same results of like, these places aren't interested, they don't want you. But of course they can never just they have to do something that like either like waste your time or waste your gas. So I just said, forget it. I said, all right, well, This place is too far away for my my preference, and I'm just gonna you know let him go. So I didn't go to that one. On Wednesday I had one over the phone, and it was for this like some kind of program. And basically I liked what I heard about it until the person said that it was part-time, and I just rolled my eyes because, like I said, when I go on these websites I always put in full-time, and a lot of these jobs are so slick that they'll put part-time and full-time to basically to make it seem like they're amendable, like, hey, maybe if somebody wants to work full-time or part-time, we can work this out. So I just kind of rolled my eyes, and I pretended to be having a decent conversation with that person, um just over the phone, so they couldn't see my expression. So the next on Thursday I had another interview where I had to drive by a distance that wasn't too far away, but whatever. um and that place seemed okay, like it wasn't that bad, but then the manager said they were only hiring part-time, and I just, again, in my, like, internally rolled my eyes because I'm like, god damn, why is it so hard to just get 40 hours of work every week? Like, I'm having this realization that the only way to guarantee uh again meeting at least that minimum of 40 a week, I guess, is to just get two jobs. But the problem with those two is that I couldn't even take both of them because one of them is 20 hours a week, and there's going to be one day where there's just nothing. Um and it's supposed to be in the afternoon, and then the other job is uh like 25 hours a week, and it's also in the afternoon. So they I couldn't even like take both of them and try, was it make lemons out of lemonade? Let me see what Jedi Master wrote. Why must we rely on the existence of others to flourish in life? The collective human environment is broken, especially in the West. Nonetheless, I applaud you for your job searching perseverance. Just a thought. Yeah, I really do feel like saying the hell with it a lot of times, because it's an extremely thankless thing, and it really feels like it's a job just to get a job. Like the amount of applications that you fill out and just hear nothing back from, and phone calls that you answer, they make me feel like I work in like an office or something, where just every day the phone's ringing. Hi, we heard that you're interested in this position. um, but I said before that, like, my patience is progressively wearing thin. I just to give you an example, I've had a lot of these different caregiver positions that have kind of like spurred me, and they're all basically wanting you to assist an either elderly person or someone who's kind of like in a frail condition with just like sometimes day-to-day stuff, things like that. And I told this tale because I just thought it was crazy. I applied for a place that sat me down for two interviews, one on a Thursday, one on a Friday. And at the end of the one on the Friday, they sent me an email. They said, "Oh, we want to move forward with you, but we need three references from people that are personal or professional." And I go, "Okay, whatever." I bite the bullet and I give them the different contacts. So after I send them that on Monday, they send me another message where they're asking me to like fill out some forms, some documents. I go, "Okay, it looks like we're finally going to get some work. Thank God." So I fill out the forms, documents that same day. On Tuesday and Wednesday, I hear nothing from them. Now that's really weird because usually when I fill out forms, they start scheduling you to come into orientation, all the usual dribble, right? So I called the lady that interviewed me on Thursday, and I'm like, "Hey, it's I filled this stuff out a few days ago. What happened? What's the deal? Or am I still being, like, what is there a holdup or something?" So then on Thursday, I get my Dear John letter. They say, "Thank you so much for uh, interviewing with us, but we've decided not to move forward with your application. Good luck on your job, sir." When I read that trash, I wanted to throw my computer out the window. I mean, like, I guess, and I tried to explain stuff like that pisses me off more than a place just not saying anything back, because it's that whole like thing of toying with you, like just wasting your time. Like it's not enough to just be like, okay, well, I don't want to hire this person, because places do all the time where they either say nothing back or they send you their rejection letter. To sit there and like actively be like, "Hey, man, uh, we are interested in you. Fill this." And I swear to you, out of all the places I've ever applied to, as someone that has looked for work for years, I've never had somewhere have me fill out forms and then be like, nah, we're good. So that was like a new low as far as just me being sick of these places. That's something I'm not going to get over. And I had half a mind to send some kind of nasty message back because that really pissed me off. Because it's again, it's like it's not even just the time wasting, but then they're cowards too. Because what did they do after having me fill this stuff out and deciding at that point to not move forward my application? They didn't call and say, "Hey, man, look, we're having this stuff happen, or we had some further inspection." They just expected me to fill all that stuff out and just to not inquire about the status of the application, to just be like, okay, whatever. I guess I didn't get that one. I'm not going to call them or figure out what's going on. It's crazy how people in positions of authority are so cowardly. Like they can't even like tell the people who are trying to work for them, "Hey man, look, we're sorry, but we don't we're not going to move forward with you because of, whatever reason." They just expected me to fill that stuff out and just not say anything. Yeah, very very much. Jedi sounding like Bill Clinton. He says, "I understand your pain." Well, his message was, "I feel your pain," so you're not too far off from him. Man, these jobs are the worst. Like I'm telling you, some of the buffoonery I've seen over the last 3 or 4 weeks since I came back from my trip to Alabama and Georgia, and just kind of have watched some of the. No, Euro. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to go onto your on your computer and click on the tab that you have my stream on and click the X button, because after some of the stuff you've been saying, I don't want you here anymore. I'm not going to get rid of you because that would be censorship. So I'm just going to kindly ask you to pack your luggage and just depart, because you've been saying a lot of nasty things. They were very mean spirited. I'm sure you've read all the writing on the wall, but I don't want to entertain you in uh, your manners of sinister statements and commentary. So if you could please just depart, we would all be appreciative. Because I've read some of the things you've been writing about me, and it really tore into my soul. I mean, you said that I was a traitor to the men's rights movement. You said that I could never make it in with the euro dollar or any dollar. So and those just a few of your very nasty comments about me. So we'll be eagerly awaiting your departure. I mean, it's really nasty some of the things you've been typing up. I know you compiled a list of all of your favorite streamers, and I was nowhere to be found. I mean, it's been really heartbreaking to read and notice some of the comments that you've had to say about me. Do you really think if I was serious, I would ask you to leave the stream if I could just ban you? But like, what would even be the point of asking someone to leave a stream when you can just get rid of them? I can't tell if you're serious or not. But yeah, I wish I was joking about these stupid employers, man. They are the worst. Well, let me not get caught up in that. But they're a really lousy group of people, and I'm telling you, they've been charting some new some they've been going in some uncharted territory since this month started. I remember on Twitter they have those people where like you'll write something and they just respond to grammatical errors. Like if they saw what you're right to be like, uh, to here you put the wrong here. You meant here as in something that you can tell is happening via volume. Well, it's even worse now because we're not even getting hired. Like excessive time wasting. Like places will have you come in for interviews and sit you down and just like talk to you and smile in your face, make it sound like you're the most desirable person in the world, but really they're planning to stick a knife in your back the second you walk out that door. I had a place that the lady knew I was coming from like like basically another part of the damn city, whole hour long drive. And I sat down for the interview. What did they do? They smile on your face. Thanks for coming in. We really appreciate it. Da. You answer all their questions. They're giggling. They're laughing. They seem to be having such a good time with you. And guess what? After it's over and done, nothing. Just like I mentioned before, there was a dog place that I applied to back in like October, November, and they had me come in for their little like experimentation orientation thing, and I got mauled by 30 something dogs. And I was petting them and holding them, and because I like animals. I don't own any, but I like them as far as I've had them in the past, whatever. And like by the end of it, a day later, the guy's like, "We decided to move forward." So I'm just thinking to myself, what did I do wrong? I treated all the animals well. I let them basically either hump me or grab on me. I mean, it was nuts. Like even if you do what these bastards want, you still don't get hired. Oh, Jedi said, I hate that they get the point. Well, you know what it is. People, it's kind of like if you do a video and people only respond to the title, like you make a whole video, it could be 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and they just respond to the title or like a piece of it, like very early on. It's like the point was not the title. It was so like just like it's not the grammar, it's the thing that's being said that you clearly understand what's being conveyed, but you want to focus on this. You want to like hyper focus on this thing that really doesn't matter. No, I can't tell you how many times I've seen that. And I swear to you, my policy is I never leave a comment on someone else's video until I've seen the whole thing. The only way I don't leave a comment and I is don't it have to be like a 3, 4, 5 hour video for me to not like and I and in that instance, I probably just wouldn't even write anything anyway. It's basically 1984, but with a smile. Well, Euro, wasn't that one of your favorite years when you were back in Reagan and you were laughing that Mondale got defeated in the landslide? So you and actually you did smile. So I guess this year really is a repeat of that. July says, I'm telling you, they have so much to lose and they will lose it all one day. Same, exactly. No, I really just am sick of these places. They're run by some very devious people that are I mean, I don't know what the purpose is of like bringing people in for interviews and just having nothing come out of it. Oh, thanks, Megumi. I don't know if you were yeah, you weren't here last Saturday. Or I think on Monday either. You were taking a vacation. Now, I'm glad you showed up because I wanted to tell you about this because you were here when I did this stream. I've been with this person now for about 3 or 4 months, and they did something that really upset me, which is that I had some fries that I made in the air fryer because I was hungry. And because of how much are in there, I always split it in half so I can eat some during the afternoon, then some for dinner. Um, and I think it was like 2 Saturdays ago, 2 Sundays ago. This person calls themselves cleaning, and you would think if you're cleaning and you find food that you don't that you know who made it because I'm the only one that makes that. You would think if you find food that someone else made, you would ask them, "Hey, is this still good? Is this still something you're going to eat?" But instead of doing that, they throw the stuff out. So I called them after finding my stuff that is not bad in the trash. And I say, why did you throw this out? I was going to eat this. I didn't know how old it was. And I asked, why couldn't you just ask me before you threw it out? And then, they pivot to something else. And I was talking about how um if this person because these fries are not expensive, it's like $3, $4 for a pack of them, and they're really big. If this person was like even attempting to be accountable for what they did, they would just give me like $3 or $4 to go and buy another pack, and I wouldn't even be mentioning this at all because the person made a mistake. They amended it by reimbursing me, whatever. But they didn't do that because they don't care. So their washing machine is this like really coveted thing that only they want to use. I think it's really weird that they're like, don't ever wash your stuff over that. I find that very weird. I had bought back in January or February 2 shirts, and my favorite shirts are like button down ones. Um, and within a week or 2 weeks of having them, because I always wash my stuff every week, or at least that person does it now. One of the buttons on both of the shirts comes off. So like, right around here, right around there. Um, and I'm like, oh man, that's so lame. Cause I'm thinking the shirts are of a poor quality because I just bought these and I've never had that happen before where like right after you get something, you know, that's buttoned down, it basically breaks. So I return them. And then about another month passes, a few weeks pass after that, and I have another shirt where a button comes off of it. And then I'm thinking, okay, that's kind of weird, but whatever. Because I'm still like most of my stuff is still fine when I put it when that person washes it and does their BS. So about 2 or 3 days ago, one of my favorite that I've had for years, that I've put in the washing machine every week, and it's perfectly fine. There's no lacerations or buttons coming off. This person hands me a button, and when I see it, I immediately know which shirt it was on, and I am pissed because now I know that it wasn't the quality of the shirts, because this shirt, mind you, has been washed dozens of times by the washer I used to have, and that never happened. It's this new crappy one that's messing up all these different shirts. So when I confront this, because I said, okay, well now I'm just going to hand wash the shirts, because it doesn't happen with pants or socks, for example, because there's like either no button or like there's a straw, whatever. We've only seen this happen with shirts. So I say to the person that I'm gonna like hand wash the stuff, and they're like, well, maybe there's something wrong with your shirt. And I'm like, no, no, no. And I know there isn't now, because again, this happened to a shirt that I've had for years that has never had that happen before it was washed in that piece of crap machine. But also because they tried to say, oh, well, no one else is having this happen. Well, no one else really wears anything with buttons on it. So it's kind of like, that's why it doesn't happen. They don't have anything with the same, what I'm talking about. It's like, it's a stupid comparison because they're trying to act as if everyone is washing stuff with buttons. And I said, and like what gets me is that every time a button comes off, I have to take it to a tailor. And the guy I've gone to at least twice now, very good price. He put the one back on the shirt I've had for years on there for like $2. But you understand that it's kind of ridiculous to have to keep going back to him in the event that this keeps happening, because this is something that's happened repeatedly. It's a pattern. And sure enough, yesterday they washed a shirt that, I swear to you, I haven't washed this shirt because it's just been sitting inside of my I think in like the garage or something. I haven't washed this shirt or worn it in like maybe 5-6 months. So it wasn't really dirty, but it also wasn't something that I've been like if I haven't worn something that long, I still prefer to wash it anyway just to make sure. And guess what? One of the buttons came off after it was washed by that machine one time. So I know now, after having at least 5 separate shirts have buttons come off of them, that it's that stupid machine. But yeah, they are very narrow-minded and dismissive. When you tell them that something is happening that is affecting only you, they don't care. And when I told them, hey, I want to hand wash my stuff now because this keeps happening when I put it in your washer. You're not using my sink, even though there's 3 sinks in the house. And I have one of those. I think I'm talking about those little buckets that you can like pour water in and then fill it up and like soak the shirt in there, and put it to the side on top of some towel or whatever. Basically, they're like really obnoxious because I'm planning on doing something that's in response to their machine, and then they're like, well, you can't use this. So I just, at every turn, it's just BS, man. It's really obnoxious to um again, like that, you tell them, hey, this is something that's happening because of your machine. Maybe it's the quality of the shirt. I was like, how the hell did this shirt that I've had for years never have a button come off of it until it got into your crap? But it's the shirt. Yeah, that's why I said, man, just very, like Megumi wrote, very very narrow-minded and dismissive. But this is the same person that was telling me, uh get a job, 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 and then my favorite thing was that there was a some kind of driving position where they basically teach you how to drive, and then you go out on the road and do little trips for them. And this person said, "Don't do it," and I was like, "Well, hell, if if you didn't want to, I mean, it's just stupid because like if you want this person to have a job, and then a place is offering them a job, and then you tell them don't get the job, then how can you complain about them not having one when you're the same person who encouraged them to take one of the few ones that was actually offering to whatever? It's all just a stupid. Yeah, the machine chews up buttons. If you put a shirt in there and it's got some buttons on it, be prepared for one of them to come off at any given point. And I know that washers and dryers are not normally like that because, like I said, that machine I had over at my previous place never did that. And that machine was like 20 something years old. So some stuff just has quality pretty much forever. Other stuff is just trash from the start. So I'm very irritated. I was very pissed off on Thursday. I made it my mission to go up there on Friday morning and get that button put back on. And now I've got another shirt where that same thing happened. But remember, it's the shirts. It's not the stupid machine that keeps messing everything up. I mean, look, I'll just get a bucket, pour some water with detergent in there, clean the stuff that way, and then use like a blow dryer to dry it. I'm done with these machines. They mess stuff up too much. The theory I had is that this person, because they're like really angry about I guess having few things in the washer. My theory is they stick so much stuff in there that it kind of like makes things not be handled as delicately as they could be. Like, I guess what I'm saying is when you fill a washer or dryer with so much crap and it's all like kind of smacking against the thing, relatively like hard, that might be one of the reasons. Let me see. Jedi said, "You just can't work with some people. Unfortunately, those kinds of people are in droves. So they don't want to work with you. They want to blame you for anything and everything that happens." And I'm honestly sick of it. I am too. I've been dealing with this person and all of their ridiculousness for months now. And I had one of my streams actually that I ended because you could hear him in the background cursing from like the moment they walked into the house, just in a bad mood. Megumi writes, "So are you going to sew them back or go to a dry cleaners to get the buttons sewed back on?" Yeah, I have a guy I know that this tailor that I've had do that for me twice. So I'll go back to him probably either tomorrow or, well, no, because they're closed on Sunday, but probably like Monday or Tuesday. He's gonna recognize me by the time all these damn buttons come off. We'll be on a first name basis with each other. Yep, that's true. It could be too much stuff inside the washing machine. Oh, they stick a whole bunch of crap in there. Because usually I would just wait after maybe 4 or 5 days, not a full week, but just for a solid half of a week, and then wash um like some shirts together. It could be 3 shirts, 4 shirts, 5 shirts, 6 shirts. And this person's like, "I don't want to you to wash over here because you're gonna waste the water." It's like, oh my God, like everything is nickel and penny this, nickel and penny that, but then this will be the same bastard that whatever. I'm just you can't do that. What an incompetent person. They don't care when something doesn't affect people, even if they're the direct cause of it. It's just whatever to them, unfortunately. I told you they never are accountable for anything that happens because of them. When they throw out your food, your perfectly good food there was nothing wrong with, it's your fault for keeping it in the machine in the same place that you put it before and not had it thrown out in. You were supposed to just magically predict that they were going to pick today to like go in there and throw stuff out. And one of my biggest pet peeves is wasting food. I hate it. Uh because I actually had a pretty similar incident about 5 years ago with the same the one I left the place of. The would you like to have a plate that person? Um, where they threw out something I had and like I cursed about them to somebody else and another person. Then like the same person, the same person I spoke to stabbed me in the back and told them because they were mad at me separately. And then the person was like, "You got so mad over me throwing out a five." It's like, douchebag, I'm upset because I know that you wasted my food and you're not going to reimburse me. And sure enough, they didn't. So yeah, it's you're damn right. I get upset when people throw out food, perfectly good food for no damn reason that they like the micro brains that they are couldn't be possessed to simply ask you, "Is this good? Is this not?" You're damn right. I'm upset. It was only six. Then you buy me a new one, and then I won't even. I'll apologize. I won't. But guess what? They don't because they don't care. Every time one of these stupid bastards throws out something that belongs to you, you can expect whether it's $3 or 3 cents. You can expect them not to reimburse you because they don't care. The only time someone has ever thrown out something I had and they went and bought me something else to like compensate for it was when I had this one person throw out some shampoo and then they went and got me some more of that same one. That's the only time. Every other instance, never. And this is a separate person from the other two, so you already know what kind of crap you're getting from them when they do that. God, man, I tell you, it's living with people is the. That's why I was so happy when they went out of town this weekend. I was like, that was me. Like just get out of here. Finally get to stream at the house on a Saturday. No interruptions, no loud person in the background talking on the phone. Don't have to go to Starbucks and have crazy people around there too. Rumi says, of course you'd be upset, especially if they don't have a good reason, don't care about being considerate to you in reimbursing your food. They never do. They every time they throw something out that you wanted or needed, they never reimburse you. The only time that ever happened was someone else, someone of a much higher quality than either of them. That's the only time. Just like I remember that this person was like, oh, by the way, I just want to make this point because I think it's interesting. So this person said that I'm mean because I never buy them anything. So when I went and got some stuff from the Carter Library, I got them a pen, and then their response was, "You only got me one," and I just thought to myself, first you complained I don't get you, which I think is stupid anyway. Why the person without a job has to get the person with the job stuff? I think that's really dumb. But then when you get something, you also complain. So I said appeasement doesn't work. When you have someone who's constantly complaining about something or several things and you try to like meet them halfway or do something that's in their favor, guess what they're going to do? They're going to keep moving the goalpost because they're never satisfied one way or the other with their stuff. It's just nothing but complaining and being upset and angry over stupid things. And I just get tired of it. I really do. The person without a job has to get the person with a job something. That makes sense. I guess we could get into this thing with this stupid I still can't believe. No, you want to talk about playing crazy. You'll hear that when I get into my next topic. So when I was in Georgia, I went to the Carter Library, and because I'd never been on a plane before, I let somebody else pack my bag for me, and they just sort of like, you know, put a whole bunch of stuff in there that in retrospect I really didn't think was necessary. Like they were trying to fear monger about me using washing machines up there. You don't know who goes to those washing machines. They're dangerous, that all that crap. So I went on their website and I get some stuff because I didn't get it when I was there because I couldn't fill my bag with that many things. So I go on their website and I order some stuff. I get 2 notebooks. I order 2 notebooks, and I also order a Friends membership. And a Friends membership basically gives you a year's worth of free admittance to that library and other government libraries. So I get my stuff. Well, first of all, before I even like get the stuff, I get a call on, I think it's this past Monday, and it's from one of the people that works there. And they're like, "Oh, we don't have the bookmark. Can we just stick that back on your card? We don't have any of these." It's like, okay, fine, whatever. But I'm still excited for the order anyway because most of the stuff I want is still coming. I get this box. I open it up, and instead of 2 notebooks, I only have 1. And instead of the years long Friends membership that I paid for, is like 20 some dollars, I get a little crappy card that says this temporary card will expire 30 days from May 20th, 2023. So what that means is that I paid for a year's membership and they only gave me a month. And I called them, I sent them a message that like right after getting this stuff that was not what I wanted or was not the way it was supposed to be. And still after several days, no response. Now the problem I try to call them is that they're 3 hours ahead of me. So by the time it's like 1 in the afternoon for me, they're almost ready to close up. So one of my priorities next week is gonna be getting in there, you know what, over messing up my order. And I just thought about how the first time I ordered from there was actually while I was still in Alabama before I got on my flight and came back over here. And for like 2 weeks, I just hear nothing about my order. So I sent a message, I'm like, "Hey guys, what happened to my order? Oh, sorry. We apologize for the inconvenience. We didn't mail it out until today. Thanks for letting us know." So if I didn't contact them directly, I would have just never had my first order. And then the second order, which I ordered because I liked the first one so much, because everything that I wanted was there, is so crappy that now I never want to order from them again. And like I get other people don't care about that stuff as much as I do, but I just want to point this out. I've ordered from the Truman Library, from the Johnson Library, from the Bush Library, from which other one was there? The Kennedy Library. And the only one out of this group of 5 or 6 different libraries I've ordered from that where the stuff comes back in a way that it's not supposed to be is that one. So that was my last order. I'll never order anything from there again. Um, that really pissed me off. And it's not even because, like I said, people make mistakes. Like I forgave them when they mailed my stuff out damn near 2 weeks after the order took place. But I'm not going to forgive for botching the order that badly and then not even responding when I inquire, like, "Hey, what happened? Why is it like this?" So that place is run by some. If I ever had a feeling to use the N word, it would be right now because that there's some specific level of incompetence that only comes from that place. Well, yeah, there was a pattern, but that's why it's crazy to me because all of the other libraries are not like this. I mean, when I ordered from the LBJ one, both times my stuff came in like 3 days. Everything was there, all the stuff. Only with that particular one do things come back all messed up. I don't know what they're smoking in Georgia, but I don't want any of it. Talk about not having any customer satisfaction. What are the employees doing with the orders? I wonder how they got their positions there. Hey, trust me, if I have to call up, let's see, that's a place that's run by the federal government. I'll call them and say, "Hey, at this library, they didn't give me my order. They ripped me off." I would absolutely do that. I've got my receipt. You pay for because even if I couldn't like prove that, for example, they didn't send me 2 notebooks, which they didn't. They only sent me 1. But I get where that's kind of like hard to prove because I have like multiple other ones. I can still prove that I paid for a year's membership and I only got a month. Oh, we've said before, people like their friends help them get jobs, but I mean, even then, it's like, I don't care about how people got jobs if they at least do it competently. Like you order something and it's the complete it's like not even close to what you ordered or it's missing. and we're just supposed to not say anything. No, there are people who get jobs that they don't deserve or have like really earned, and they still do it competently. They still do it like someone who worked hard for it or didn't get it without with someone. Because, like I said, those are actual competent people. But when you have incompetent people, whether they were hired because they appeared to be competent when they first started, or whether they got helped by someone, it doesn't matter. They're just crap. And that's what those employees at that particular library are. They're incompetent. They always mess up the order, or do some kind of weird thing, and I'm not having it anymore. So they won't be seeing another order from me. If I get anything else from that library, it'll be when I make my second visit to Georgia next year or the year after that or whatever. But it won't be over the computer anymore. Too much shenanigans happen. You pay for a year membership and you get a month. They made me have to go to the Kennedy Library and beg them for because they gave me a when I paid for it, they gave me a digital card. I was like, can I get a physical one? The people at the Carter want to know what they're doing. And they're like, all right, expect it in 3 to 4 weeks. And like I said, every other library that I've so far had dealings with, much smoother. The Johnson Library was so good. I want to order from there. I don't even know what I want, and I want to order from there again because every time I order something, it comes and it's what I want, and it's perfect. And it's like you should have that happen every time you order stuff, but because of the incompetence of the Carter Library, it's like I'm appreciating even the most basic of just actually, like actually doing what you said you were going to do. Dude, I don't tolerate anyone messing up my order. Seriously, how can you screw that up? They are messing with your money, so this should be handled with care and professionally. And I tried to do that, but guess what? When I sent them a message after all the other times they responded directly or immediately, no response this time. So I'm gonna call them at some point this week. And if they don't answer, or depending on how they respond, if they try to say, like, well, we thought, because we live in the never admit you're wrong era. So if they respond in some kind of weird way or don't say anything back and ignore my call, I'm calling some higher up. I'll figure out who it is. It's so sad when all you want to do is just have like just get some stuff from a place to support it, and then they botch it this badly. Like you just unnecessarily make someone your enemy for no reason. Because they have it in their power to say, look, like how the guy called me and said they didn't have bookmarks anymore. They have it in their power to just tell you, hey, we don't have this anymore, and then give you your money back. But they didn't do that. They sent me one of the two things I ordered from the notebook or whatever. Um, and then for the other thing, they didn't even send the correct stuff. Like, you pay for a year and you get a month. Yeah, it's really nuts. Like I said, you're not going to see me ordering stuff from there ever again. That was the last nail in the coffin. Just like how you won't see me using that washer and dryer anymore. When that button came off that shirt that I had for years, and that person tried to tell me that, oh, maybe it's the shirts and how, and then when that button came off, that was it. That was a final nail in the coffin for that machine. So does that mean they keep the rest of your money? I don't know. It looks like it. Like, if I pay for a year membership and it's $25 and I only get a month of membership, shouldn't that mean I get a 12th of the price? Like, I only have to pay $3 or however many. I didn't do the math properly in my head, but you get what I'm saying. Like, wouldn't you drastically lower the price to reflect that? Because on my receipt, it shows where I paid for the year membership. So they will be getting called and confronted about their be. I'm definitely not letting that one go. Like I said, I order stuff from Amazon all the time. It always comes like the way it was described, or close to it. I ordered stuff from these other libraries. It always comes the way it was described. This is the only one that's done this goofy crap. This, out of all of them, it's the only one. I'm telling you, man, you can't expect like basic competence from anywhere anymore. It's really sad. I agree with you. Definitely don't let this go. They shouldn't deserve to keep your money and get away with it. Oh, they definitely won't get away with it because again, if I call them and they start doing their goofy stuff or don't answer back, I'm gonna keep looking for ways to like go above them. And I know that there's some way of like giving them ramifications for this, but it's really sad that like all of the other libraries are run by people who get an order, and if they don't have it, they tell you they don't have it. If they do have it, they give you what you wanted. And I've never had a problem with any of the other ones. And I've ordered from um at least one of the other ones, twice, just like with this one, and both times were good. Whereas with this one, both times were bad. So, except in the first case, it wasn't even the stuff being wrong; it was just how long it took them to send me my crap. The second one was this nonsense. So that was my final order. They're never gonna see me again. Because when you get membership, that's supposed to be you making an investment in their in the museum and like wanting to support it actively. I don't even want to do that anymore. Incompetence is def on the rise, dealing with it right now with the car insurance bureaucracy. Well, you saw what happened when I called my Secretary of State's office and I asked, who among you can tell me about what is needed to get on the ballot, what is needed, like just basic questions about running for office, right? And what do I get? I get transferred by the first person to another person. Then they transfer me to somebody else. Then that lady transfers me to another number, which disconnects me. Then I call the second guy back. He transfers me to the third person again, the second lady. She transfers me to that same number that disconnects me. Then I call the first lady back. And then she speaks to the second guy, then accuses me of accusing her of being the third lady who kept transferring me to the number that was disconnecting. And then she transfers me to a number that disconnects and disconnects me for a third time. So none of my questions get answered. And now after a week, I still have none of my questions answered and I'm pissed. That's all there is to it. Just incompetence and people not wanting to do their job and wanting to send you off on these different numbers. And they just don't care. They just don't care. I got transferred 3 times in like 5 minutes just to get hung up on by the stupid answering machine voicemail ring 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 whatever that thing was. And the worst part is that if I were to just like say okay to hell with it and just make up my own rules, right? um and like let's say I accidentally do something illegal, because there's certain things if you do it you can get in trouble for it. I can't then say, hey guys, I tried to call you and ask you what things were okay and what things weren't. They're not going to care. They're going to say you broke the law. Now pay a fine or go to jail. Like, and that's what I was saying about how it's so frustrating that me getting irritated with them was because I was trying to make sure I did things correctly according to their rules and the guidelines, whatever. And I just couldn't get a single damn person to explain it to me. I must say, you seriously have to put up with so much garbage from so many people, including your ridiculous relative that you live with. It's like you can't catch a break. Well, I guess this weekend is my break. I get one break a month. I get the 5-day vacation in another state where none of them could do anything except call me and cry and just have me ignore my phone. And then like today and most of yesterday to just be away from that nonsense. I told you it's the worst, man. Like trying to do this stuff is hard. Oh, Megumi, since you weren't here for that stream last Saturday, let me see. Do I still have that clip? I guess I'll just have to manually pull it up. I'm gonna play this.
When you see Rhino's Karl Rove, Bill Barr, or Paul Ryan on your television screen, just turn to a different station or turn it off. Turn off that set as fast as you can. You're frankly better off watching Democrats. They are the worst.
So Megumi, if you go on your TV and you see any of these different romance guys talking about you need to do this to get with the woman and dating coach and love guru and all the rest of that, just turn to a different channel or turn off the TV. Turn off that TV as fast as you can. You're frankly better off watching OnlyFans. They are the worst. No, the reason that video was so funny to me is because I've never seen out of someone who's been following politics for over 10 years, I've never seen it could either be a candidate or someone that's held office say, if you see people I don't like, members of my own damn party, by the way, on TV, just turn it off. And what's funny is at the day after I played the clip on my last Saturday stream, I actually did see one of the guys he mentioned on Fox, and I turned it off. Members of my own party are so bad, you're better off watching the opposition party. Again, I know you're not into that stuff, but I just thought that was funny. Oh, I think the one he was talking about is like a regular co-host on that show. But him and that guy have been feuding for like 15 years. Like I can find old news articles. He's like, "Why did you donate to him? That's money down the drain." So they've been going back and forth for a very long time. By the way, speaking of very long time, I was talking to someone who's in like regular contact with the spin artist. You know the spin artist, the character that likes to rip locks off doors and whatnot. And he had the nerve, the gall, the balls to say that he has been trying to reach out to Justin, but Justin won't call him back and won't take his calls. When I heard this trash, I sat the person down. We were in the car together. And I said to them, I look on my phone every single day. This person's number is not blocked. It's not been deleted. When if they were to call me, I would know who they were instantly. They have never once called me. They have never once sent me a text message, a voicemail, an email, regular old mail, and we have not spoken since January. So any claim that they're making about trying to reach out to me is a lie. Well, that's what the person said, that they're trying to like keep up face and make it seem like they're this very concerned person. But we've established before, when you don't live with these people, they act like you don't exist. They don't reach out to you. That's why one of them, we all share the same relative. Their birthday was about a week ago, and I call them basically every day, so I didn't forget it. And I asked them, hey, did these two people who claim they love you so much reach out to you? They said no. So that's why I said if you don't live with them, they just act like you don't even exist. This person loves you so much, that's why they never call you or try to see how you're doing ever, month after month. But they love you so much. Dude, I swear it's like a cartoon, these people, the things they say versus what they do. Like, you'll never see me have a person I claim to really care about, and I just never call them at all. I'm not even saying you have to do on like a daily basis like I do with my favorite characters, but at the very least, once every few weeks, once a month, like, damn, why is it so hard to just pick up a phone and ask somebody if they're all right? I told you there's a real sickness in people where they have this thing about like never wanting to be accountable for the stuff that they do, to where they'll always make it the fault of the other person that they're like what they are. I didn't reach out to you because you're not a very inviting person, but you were so inviting that I was able to say something to you, and I wanted you to take out the trash and all these other menial tasks. They simply just don't care. Yep. Well, it's like they care enough to lie about their supposed interest in being involved in you with you, but they don't care enough to actually do things that are what's a good way of putting it? Symbolic of wanting to, like are actually substantive. Like, hey, I called to this person, I went to go see them. Nothing. Just they don't. It's like they have. It's like I don't even like saying this as a joke, but some of these people are really teetering on bipolar because in one breath they'll say they care about you and tell other people the same lie, and in the other one they do nothing to show that whatsoever. It's really crazy. Also, Megumi, you can't curse on YouTube, so if your comment gets deleted, just know it wasn't me. I remember when YouTube was first starting out, maybe like not the first year, but like 2008, 9. They really did try to do some kind of thing where if you swore in videos, they would like put a restriction on it or what. And it's like, guys, like people curse, people use bad words. It's not that big of a deal. Statistically, mental illness is on the rise, so maybe not too far fetched. I mean, hey, if you heard some of the stuff that they say and do, you would think there's a lot of like chemical imbalances there. I think I said before that like what happened is that when the spin artist would come over to my house, it would usually be to talk to somebody else, and then I would just see him by happenstance and have like some brief interaction. So because he went along so much with that other one, to where like he just co-signed on like, yeah, he can't come here and da, 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 da. He basically let that person terminate his relationship with me. So I hope it was worth it. Is all I can say. Because remember, these people are bothered. I don't talk to them, not the other way around. I really couldn't care any less of a you know what about speaking to them. It is what it is. I remember those days of YT. I feel it was more better back then as well. Oh, YouTube when it first started was I hate to use this term again, uncharted territory. You could people made videos pretty much doing anything. They put up fights, they put up cats playing the piano. I mean, it was a much more unique and wondrous and just kind of like anything goes type of site. The only thing people wouldn't do is maybe put up porn, and like now they actually do that. They just have covert ways of doing it. But you get my point that like back then it was a really I remember old YouTube where you had YouTube friends and private messages. I used to DM my favorite people on here and be like, hey, I like your video. And you could make your channel any color you wanted. Like you would put in the color codes. Like let's say I wanted it to be red. I put like zeros. You know what I'm talking about? Like to change the colors up, and you have your favorite videos, so you could promote videos you like the most in your little tab. It was a really fun looking place back then. It was. Like I preferred the 5-star system to the like or dislike because I don't think I think it's easier to gauge people's position if they like if they can say they really like a video, really don't like a video. But yeah, that's crazy. Why can't they just be honest? Is it too hard for them? Apparently so. Oh yeah, they never can admit to being wrong about anything or just like not doing something. Because if I was asked, hey, have you spoken to, I would say no, I have not spoken to them since January. I would tell the truth. I would say, hey, me and this person have not talked. It is what it is. I used to private message a lot of people and be involved in a small community, chatting to people in the discussion tab and getting to customize your channel much more to give it more personality. And YouTube, to be fair, does have the channel customization part still, but it's nowhere near as imaginative. Like I definitely prefer the old layout to the new one. But it seems like every site is trying to like make itself look different than it did before, and it almost always looks worse. Like old Twitter versus new Twitter is another example where people were like, "What the hell is this?" when it first changed. Jedi says now YouTube is becoming like TikTok with these ridiculous shorts they have. Like my thing is, why can't people just upload a short video? Why make a whole feature out of purposely making content that's extremely tiny? Like I don't get it. Because people used to put up like this movie in 5 minutes or this movie in 5 seconds, whatever. Like, but with a lot of people, I don't get the point of having a site where you can upload videos at pretty much any length you want, and then like purposely catering to those that make very tiny videos. Like I don't know, I just think it's weird. Because society has become dumbed down. Oh yeah, where people only pay attention to something for like 2 seconds. Oh, Jed, I was gonna ask you because I'm doing this new video, and maybe it'll come out this weekend, maybe it'll come out next week. But it was about a certain triangle scam, and I was talking about how, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but if you go on Twitter, you can find women like saying men are awful, men do this, all this like generalizing stuff about men, and like nobody cares, right? But then if you go and you say in like a message form or just like on a video, man, women are some idiots. Like if you say anything that's generalizing about them, people say you're misogynistic, you're promoting the patriarchy, you hate women, you think they should be second class, all the crap, right? But when women speak generalizing about men, nobody cares. But that's why I said that, like, with those different like I word groups or chats or whatever, I don't approve of the violent stuff, like where they say this person should have like, I don't support that. But when they're talking about stupid chicks and her brain is smaller than like I'm fine with that, because people online get to call men anything they want with no reprisal, no repercussion, no articles condemning them for the way that they spoke about them. So I feel like it's only fair if we get to also speak disparagingly about them. Because remember what I said before, you can't, in my view, you can't take the moral high ground on this topic and not call out bad actors on both sides. Like, for example, a lot of those pro-female people, the ones that like defend chicks vociferously, they will never acknowledge when I was making my stuff and having people write racial slurs to me or telling me to commit suicide. And it's like, how are you fine with people writing that type of stuff? Think about it, it's like you want to take the moral high ground of you should respect people and treat them well and improve yourself. But then you're perfectly fine with people writing some of the most disrespectful, disgraceful, ridiculous garbage on this website to me. Like, seriously, out of all those guys that were defending chicks, out of all those chicks that were defending other chicks, not a single one ever called out any of the nasty stuff written about me. It was all fair and well. It can all be written, and nobody had a problem with it. So that's why I said, if people can write that stuff to me and nobody cares, we should give women in general the same deference, where if you want to talk about how stupid you think they are or how ugly you think one of them is, I think you should be able to do that. Oh, it's very unfair, but that's why I said that, like, remember, we don't do the moral high ground stuff. Like, we talk about double standards and how ridiculously hard, but you don't see us going, I would never treat a woman, because whatever, like it is what it is. Women date men that treat them like trash. Some treat ones that treat it all varies, but we don't get caught up on like the we're better than someone else crap. But they do. They try to say, oh, no woman would ever like you because you've spoken of them in this way. But then they're, again, perfectly fine when people call someone they don't agree with racial slurs, tell them to end their life. They don't care. I mean, it's not like saying any of this stuff physically harms them, yet they lose their minds if you criticize women, even on the objective level. Exactly. And that's my point, that most of those guys in that supposed involuntary whatever group they're not going and committing violent acts. Like the overwhelming majority of guys deal with dumb stuff from women and never put their hands on them, either because it's over the computer or because, again, like we're just used to it, that like we're just not instant. And that's why I said, like, I'm never going to not be disturbed by the idea that they took guys who are having a hard time getting a date with a broad and tried to make us seem like we were weird, right? Like there was something wrong with us because, oh, you can't appeal to the magic triangle. But not even just that, they also tried to make it seem like you were also a bad person for having a hard time appealing to one of these bastards who are so damn hard to appeal to that a majority of young guys are not even with one in the US anymore. But remember, it's all you. It's only you. Except when it isn't, but whatever. All these character analysis, and it's really funny. It's like if they're not attacking you over your appearance, they're attacking you over your personality. It's sad. I word pill MG toe. I say just take the big bits and pieces from those ideologies that make sense and actually apply to real life. The triangle dilemma, like the one you mentioned, which is very true. Well, I don't say like I tend to not mention them specifically because their supporters try to like lump everyone that criticizes women in there with them. Like if you just make a video and you're like, hey, I asked out this woman, she wasted my time, I'm done with them. Welcome to the team. And it's like I'm not part of anyone's organization, because you know what happens when you do that? They try to like basically apply things to you that are not so. So like if I said I was an I word, yes, they're going to say he preaches misogyny and he's preaching violence. Like I never even said any of this stuff. So that's why I said I'm not part of any of these different groups, because anything the worst members do will get associated with you. Oh, it's absolutely a recipe for disaster. Like I would rather have less views and not affiliate with any of those different teams than have more views and put their stuff in like the title of my video, because I'm not trying to attract, any kind of like following from those people in like in the general sense of like I'm fine with them agreeing with certain things I say, but I'm not fine with like them trying to uh say, oh, he's part of our organization or whatever, that type of crap. It would be like if somebody did a video and they're like, hey, I don't really like eating this much meat anymore. And I'm like, welcome to the vegetarian team. You're like, but I didn't even apply. I just said, and I didn't even say I'm done with eating meat. I just said I don't like that much of it. Welcome to PETA. I didn't even send in my resume. I told you my favorite response is when that one person asked that guy, are you an I word? And he said, does it come with the pension? I'm just imagining they have like a I word association, and they give you a little card, and like they list all the benefits of how like now you'll have your videos promoted on their forums, and they're gonna like boost you in the algorithm, and they're gonna be sending in monthly donations to make sure that you can afford your meals, so that you like like they're gonna free you from the shackles of regular labor. So you can make content that they like, or make up like it's just funny to think of like an actual group of guys that support each other in a substantive way. I know, right? The general population of those groups takes it way too far to the point of vengeance. I'm not cool with that. Just find another route to live and enjoy solidarity. I mean, like when they're talking about what like them thinking chicks are dumb, I'm fine with them writing that, because it's hard to have this stuff keep happening and not be pissed off. And that's one of the points I made in my video. Like I don't not remember what types of stuff I wanted, and just every year seeing somebody else have it, you know, it's infuriating. So if they want to sit there and talk about stupid chicks and she wasted my time and these dumb bastards, and I hope this like I don't see anything wrong with that. It's just when they actually commit violence is where, we differ and we diverge and whatnot. Dude, I'm telling you, good luck ever getting anything done trying to depend on chicks. No, it's been a really eventful week. There have been a lot of lies and places mailing you stuff that's not what you actually wanted, and then radio silence after they do that goofy crap. It's been a really eventful period. So I said, I'm so tired of these places, man. They seem to specialize in wasting people's time and not actually addressing the thing that you want or have requested from them. Like I expect a seller off of eBay to do something like what was done at that library. Because like I remember, like I haven't had that many bad experiences with eBay, but it's like I would think unofficial people like that would be the ones who don't mail out something or they give you something that's not the way it looked or whatever. But it's an accredited presidential library that gypped me out of money, basically. Gumi says, I know what you mean. Of course, that would irritate you. It's like you're constantly being teased and reminded of something you tried to get for so long and never got it. Yeah. And that's why I said that, like, people, they want you to do two things. They want you to accept that this happened, but then they also want to control how you respond to it. So, like, it's not enough for them to just be like, okay, well, this person accepted it. They're not bothering any of these chicks, whatever. They want to talk about how stupid they are. That's fine. Oh, no, he's spreading his misogynistic ideals. It's like, but I mean, he's doing the same thing that chicks do on Twitter every day. They go online, they talk crap about men, and nobody has a problem with it. Well, in their case, nobody has a problem with it. If you're a man and you talk about women, then get ready for World War III. I mean, if somebody like Megumi couldn't get a woman, I mean, what hope is there for the rest of us? Because I know Megumi, he had a bunch of different like ties. This is a guy who came from a family that was so rich that he had a gold race car bed from the time he was a young boy. This is a guy who you can look up on Google right now, pictures of him with Margaret Thatcher and Queen Elizabeth, because his father and his mother were so well connected and famous. So if he couldn't get a woman, I mean, you might as well be just barking up the wrong tree, even bothering. That's always my favorite thing where they're like, you need to build up your fame and you need to have more. What's the other one they use? Status. I always talk about how like there are people on YouTube with 100,000 subs that you've never even heard of. Like there are people literally on YouTube who have over 1 million subscribers and 1 billion views. If you went out into the street right now and asked people who is this person, they were, I don't know. That's why I said fame is really subjective. It's something that just kind of it really is just so insanely unfair with so much double standard. You have to win the Nobel Peace Prize to date abroad that nobody ever heard of. All right, man, you get one more comment and then you're gone. I just don't understand why guys can't pay for it. Well, some of us actually wanted to have meaningful relationships with another person, and it's not just about getting in bed, and it's more so to do with wanting basic companionship. But yeah, we've all seen the very tragic tale of Megumi. He had everything going for him. Could you imagine if like because you know people compare trying to get a date to getting the job. Could you imagine if it actually was like that, where to get a date you have to have this whole damn campaign? Like imagine Megumi, you have like I don't know how many siblings you have, if you even have siblings, but like just for like pretend for a second you have siblings. Again, if depending if you have or not. And like imagine your dad and your mom and all your siblings are like going around town spreading your picture to different females, and like they have to like just keep every week doing this to try and get your name out there. Like just how crazy that would be. Like, you know, just the absurdity of it all, like having to do all dude, like I'm imagining like, oh, why are you going to Iowa? Are you gonna announce your presidential campaign? No, just to meet some women. Go over there and then New Hampshire and then South Carolina. Hey, Euro, I told you the Democrats are like some really just sneaky little bastards. Because Biden got blown out in Iowa, Nevada, and New Hampshire before he finally won a state with South Carolina. They're trying to move South Carolina up to be the first state in the primary, and it's like, you really don't think we know what you're doing? You really think we don't know how undemocratic you are, that you want him, you want to change the first state, which has been the same one for over 30 years, to the one that your little homeboy half dead buddy won, so that he can have a easier chance, and people of his crappy ideology, of winning or having momentum early in the primary than the other way around. Only in a parallel universe of Twilight Zone I see something like that happening. Well, remember, people want you to capitulate and acquiesce to the petulance of women. So I really wouldn't be surprised if in 10, 20, 30 years, men have to start having like whole damn campaigns to like get with a woman. It's like it's like, you know, I'm talking about how people just sort of, a lot of them engage in things that they think are normal. Like they do it because they see everybody else doing it. Like that's one of the reasons why when they have formal events, a lot of these men will just come wearing these suits that are all the same color, you know, all black, all blue. We've noticed this before, but like, because people are going to keep capitulating and acquiescing to the ridiculousness of the modern female, I fully expect that in a few decades, you may end up having that happen. Yeah, people. Well, look, a lot of people are fine with it because it doesn't affect them. I have relatives who are so damn stupid. They think I just didn't want to date anyone. Like I just was like, I'm good. Of course, I wouldn't even bother explaining it to them because they start doing their, you know, don't give up hope, speech, and I'm just not interested. But you get the point that like, since a lot of people don't have this happen to them and they like to make up stuff about the people it's happening to, there's almost no point in having a dialogue with them. It's always your fault. You did this, you did that, anything to do to defend the dingbat. Oh yeah. I mean, remember, my members of my own damn family, and not that many, it was the same two pissant ones. They make so much fan fiction that they couldn't even ask me, why did you stop working at that last place you worked at? They just created in their heads that I just quit working there. I just got up one day and was like, all right, forget it. Couldn't be damned to just ask me, why did you stop working there? That's too much hard work. No, you would think if you care so much about somebody and you're such this outgoing person, wouldn't you be able to just ask them, why did they stop working there? The Dingbat song is a classic, never gets old, or the relevance of it. You probably did this. You probably did that. Anything we can do to defend the dingbat. I wouldn't even be surprised after the like triangle scam. I might make some romance songs. I'm not gonna have any music. It was me singing it. I told you the women's many option video has been getting a bit of a resurgence recently. I'm like, hey, you better stop watching that video. They don't want you to see that one. They don't want you to be exposed to the fact that you talk to a woman and then she has like 10, 20, 30, 40 other guys waiting in the wing. Dude, some of these chicks have more men asking them out than like jobs have people applying for them. That's crazy. And I was going to make the point in my video that if it was a famous woman, I would get it. I would understand. But it's like regular, no name, effectively average chicks have like all these guys gushing over them. And I'm just sitting here like, you really don't get where I would say to hell with it if I know that this bimbo, if I get turned down, a percentage of it isn't even going to be anything I did. It'll be that there's so much damn competition, you can't keep up. I told you, these people, when they're doing all that stuff of piling down on you, they don't mention this. Seriously, I've never seen and I looked. I didn't watch the videos, but I looked. I went and looked all the little different thumbnails. I looked up many options women have, stuff like I didn't see anyone else talking about it. Again, I'm not even trying to promote myself as being very special and having my finger on the pulse of these complex, but I swear I didn't see anyone else talking about it at all. He says that's what I'm talking about, and they'll never ever mention this fact. Not one person who defended this nonsense. Well, remember, there's a couple of like no-nos, so they'll never mention all the different men asking out one woman. They'll never mention the double standard of trying to crap on you for talking trash about women. Like, remember the moral high ground, but then being completely fine. People write racial slurs, talk about the way you look, etc. They're fine with that double standard. Those are like the main two things, like the hypocrisy and just like not saying anything about loads of guys asking out some random broad. I told you at this point, I might as well just ask out famous women. It would be the same batting average. Because remember, they have 20, 30, 50, 100, 200 guys trying to ask them out. I can live with getting turned down or hearing nothing back. I can accept that. I'm not joking. If I ever ask out another woman, it'll be a famous one. And I won't even care about getting turned down. I won't feel bad at all because it'll make sense. It won't be like this other crap. I would rather have someone just not respond and waste my time for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months for all the little back and forth BS. It's biology. They can't help it. It's like a mouse running into a mousetrap for a slice of cheese. But here's my thing. We talked about how men are set up to fail. And ask yourself, if you're a guy and you want to be with a woman, right? A woman, wouldn't you think that the thing you're supposed to do is ask out women that you think are attractive? Even if it's one that you know or that you can suspect or that actually does have 10, 20, 30, 40 guys talking to her as well. You see how like you're set up to fail because you're encouraged to participate in this rigged system of asking out chicks who subsequently already have like loads of guys. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those things where it's like they tell you to do something that is already geared against you or not, designed to be in your favor whatsoever. God, these people just, I mean, women 99% of the time won't ask out a guy who they are even interested in as well. So that also puts more pressure on the guys to initiate the first contact. And really, that's why I said when people are talking about, you're so ugly, you look like blah, 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 blah. It's like, even if you were attractive, you would still get, or if you rather, how I say it this way, even like let's pretend that you meet two women and one of them, and you don't know like what, you don't yourself know what they actually think of you, but like let's say one of them thinks you're attractive and the other one thinks you're the worst looking man of all time. You're going to get the same result from both of them. Neither of them will ask you out, neither of them will initiate contact with you. So what difference does your appearance make? If either way, you're screwed, and they're not going to show interest in you anyway. Just like we had this conversation before, Megumi. I'm sure you remember we were talking about a guy wearing women's clothing and how it's like a double standard for women to be able to wear anything a man wears. If a man wears women's stuff, it's the end of the world. And we were talking about how one of the things I read was someone being like, men aren't going to want to wear women's stuff because they'll think it won't make them attractive to women. And I was like, well, hell, if you get turned down year after year wearing regular men's stuff, then and then like supposedly now women won't like you from wearing their stuff, then what difference did it truly make? By the way, Megumi, there's a commentator I don't like. I think Jedi's probably heard of Shapiro. Maybe you haven't. And I was going to do a video about it. They asked him about like passing a law in America to stop men from wearing women's, like wearing a skirt or a dress. And he was like, I think the local governments can do something about that for public indecency. And I'm just thinking to myself, public indecency is supposed to be where you're so scantily clad that people can see your private parts or other areas that would be deemed inappropriate in a social setting. With a lot of gowns and skirts, you have that some of them go past your some of them cover up more than like men's stuff does. So he's really like, I guess for me it was just crazy that he would actually try to get men wearing women's stuff on the grounds of it being indecent exposure, when a lot of times it's the reverse of that because it covers a lot sometimes. But also it's like this is the same guy talking about he doesn't want the government to get involved and government needs to be rolled back and deregulated. It's like how are you this anti-government guy, but then you want the government to enforce what the hell people can wear? Like that's really, I almost made a video about it, but I chose not to because I was gonna get a little too upset. But I was like, he really proposed that. And you know what it is? And I was trying to explain this in the video that he's a guy who grew up during the like early 2000s and 2010s because they asked him like, so are you also in favor of banning women from wearing pants? He said, oh, there are female pants that are indistinguishable from men's pants. What happens is that, and Megumi, you probably are aware of this, back in like the 40s, 50s, 60s, women did not wear pants in America. Like very seldom did they wear pants. It was usually like a dress or a skirt or something. And they started wearing them more often like in the 70s and 80s. So that's why it's really comical that this guy who's like trying to hold on to this traditional crap is fine with women wearing pants because he happened to grow up during the period where them wearing pants was considered socially acceptable. Like nobody has a problem with it anymore. It's like you wouldn't even think twice if you saw a woman wearing them because you've been, bred to just think that was a normal thing, and it should be a normal thing. But it's like he wants to keep on to the tradition of them being able of the non-tradition of them being able to wear pants. But then he's like really, really hard in the paint against men wearing skirts and dresses to where he wants the government to get involved. How the hell can that work? It can't. Like, listen, nobody, if you wear clothes that you bought yourself, nobody can stop you from wearing that. Like, if I go and I decide to put on a gown and I walk down the street, no one's going to be able to like make me put on pants. I mean, it's just, like it's stupid. It's a really dumb proposal by a guy that I've always thought was an idiot. So that's why I said I almost did a video about it. I didn't like all of what I said, so I decided not to. And that was like the day before Biden announced his reelection bid when I saw that clip. But it was really goofy because female clothing isn't even just like skirts and dresses. It's also like blouses. You have some blouses that, have like a, I guess, specific type of look to them. But they are effectively just shirts, right? A top, whatever. There's jewelry like pearl necklaces and earrings. I know a whole bunch of guys that have earrings. And that's something that 20, 30, 40 years ago, that wasn't a normal thing for men to wear, and now it is. So there's a lot of stuff you'd have to enforce to like roll back appearances enough to generate this traditional male look that he's talking about. I'm just imagining like having a social experiment where this law passes, and it never would, because in the U.S. we have freedom of expression, so that means I should be able to wear a skirt or a dress and not have to worry about someone going, "But you're a man," and like actually being able to get me in trouble with the law. Like, that's BS. But I'm just imagining, like, let's say this law passed, and there's a man and a woman wearing the same dress, right? And then the cops are like, "We have to arrest this man for wearing this," and the woman's like, "But I'm wearing it too." "Oh, that's different. You have triangle." God, it's just I don't know. I just don't understand why people care about certain like I'm telling you, chicks wear stuff I don't like. It is screwed up, and that's why it has no chance of happening. We have freedom of expression, but chicks wear stuff I don't like all the time. And if they wear something I don't like, they look away I don't like. You know what I do? I turn away. Oh, triangle privileges, absolutely. But like the thing is, when it comes to clothing, their privileges are they're not enforced by any type of law. So like in America, I could go out wearing a dress or a skirt, and there's nothing anyone can do about it other than try to like scold me and be like, "How could you do this?" Whatever, whatever. But like actual legal stuff, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just simply there's a social norm attached to men wearing men's clothing and women wearing women and sometimes men's clothing as well. And like if you try to break it, that's where people get uncomfortable. Or I guess they notice it more than the other way around. But like I said, in a society that doesn't care about you, that doesn't care if you have a job or if you can take care of yourself, why should you care about their social norms? Like, I'm not saying break the law, but I mean, like, if I'm sitting over here homeless because I can't get a job, you really I'm gonna care if somebody sees me wearing a dress? Like, it's just, you know what I mean? Like you can't as a society show you don't care about somebody and then expect them to care about any of the little informal crap that you've decided. What I don't like is how even in a work setting, some companies allow only chicks to wear stuff on their heads, but as a guy, you're requested to take off any headgear. Oh yeah, that's stupid too. I know there's an informal rule over here of like women can keep their hats on if they go in the building, but man's supposed to take his hat off. I don't agree with that either. This is personally what I have experienced, is what I mean. Well, with you tend to wear those Margaret Thatcher hats, and they feel like you're promoting politics while on the job and making political statements. Hey, I'm gonna write fan fiction. So like, I don't know what's on your headgear or your scarf. I'm just gonna make something up so I can feel better. I'm just gonna say Megumi has to take off his scarf, not because of like a gender double standard, but because he wears those Margaret Thatcher scarves that have her picture on there, and they don't want any statements of politics while he's on the clock. We got to make up some more. No, he's talking about his scarf that they would have him take off at his job. And I was making some fan fiction. I have no evidence that he wears Margaret Thatcher headscarves, but I'm just gonna create something. We can never just directly ask somebody what's the like what they wear. We have to just make things up. LOL. I really wouldn't be surprised if they made that silly stuff off about me. Yeah, that's what they do. They just create stories like no evidence, no proof. Let's just make something up. These politicians are always begging for money, I swear. Oh, so many courts. No, I'm not surprised when things get made up about me. That's all people know how to do now. This is the era of misinformation and concocting crap, and it's just, there's no more proof in anything anymore. And that drives me crazy because it's like people they think it's normal to act this way. Like, we're in an era where people are so lazy that they can't even ask the person that they're trying to smear or otherwise be unfair to, hey, so what exactly happened here? Why did you stop doing this? They just can't be bothered. Let's not forget about your skin color as well. I don't really want to bring up race, but it also does play a factor in you getting judged or smeared by others. Oh yeah, I mean, I didn't bring up race either. When do I ever do a video talking about being black? Like, they, I did a whole video after years of receiving racial slurs because there were so damn many of them. You could stick them in a video and talk over it. So I mean, the only people bringing up race are the opposition, and it's like they're not bringing it up because it has anything to do with anything. They're just being jerks. They're just being the little like neo Nazis that they are, or I guess they're trying to be like an internet version of the Klan or something. I don't know, but it's weird, and they've been doing it for a long time. Yeah, I don't know why regular men's stuff is so weird to them. I already said before, if I would love to do like a troll where I just put on like a gown or something. It's like, oh, you want me to wear something different? Here you go. I listen to the fans. They're always trying to analyze what fashion I have on or whatever. It's weird because I used to go on places like Facebook and Twitter and all that, and like you have chicks, they post picture of themselves. All the horny guys are like, and like I would understand where they're attracted to some woman, they like what she has on, they say something about, but it's like I swear I've never watched a video by any male content creator and been like, what's he wearing today? I mean, like, it's weird. Oh yeah, my that one broad that admitted it would only be a 5% increase or something. It's like I said to her, like, you don't even know if I wear these when I go out. Like, I could just wear these to read. I've got a book right here, right in front of me. So they just make stuff up, and they assume a lot of things as well. No one's ever gotten a date wearing glasses before, ever. That's never happened. I'm telling you, man, there's some people that wear glasses so much that, like, some historical figures that wore glasses so much that I can't even find a picture of them not wearing glasses. He said it is weird, but I am LGBT. How could you say that? That's what this world has come to now. Well, I mean, I don't have a problem with gay people. I have a problem with weird guys who are supposedly straight writing weird stuff to me about, you know, my romantic life, which has nothing to do with them. Like trying to have debates and all the rest of that crap. It's all really sad that grown people act like this. Like they just have nothing better to do than whine about all this stuff that has, again, just it just doesn't matter, man. Like having somebody get mad at you that you use their washing machine, and then about a day or two ago they wanted me to put the stuff in the washer and the dryer, and then when they came back they were like, why didn't you turn the dryer? I was like, you told me not to mess with your machine and even got mad at me for using it a month ago. Why would I do it now? It's just so annoying and stupid how they try to police you on anything you say or wear in general. Like, how does this affect them physically in any way? It doesn't. But remember, I told you that guys on the computer feel like emboldened and more powerful, like they hide their face and while they talk about the way somebody else looks. And they show no proof that they've ever been with a broad, but they know everything of how to get with one. That's why we had the one person here that was obnoxious. Like, it's just this is just the era of liars, scammers, and con artists. People trying to get you to believe in something that they have no evidence for. And a lot of times the actual proof is against the stuff they're saying. Just like we were talking about like Triple L and all her stupid advice about, you'll get a woman eventually, and whatever, right? And it's like, here's a broad who turns down multiple men who ask her to marry her, and she's now sitting on Tinder crying about men asking her to if she does uh the backside position. And it's like, that's the romantic success story that we're supposed to be listening to. That's the person who you and I are supposed to take as this authoritative force on how to appeal to the opposite gender and like how to have a successful romantic life. They don't even have one themselves. Yeah, I just straight up ignore them, not even going to give them any attention whatsoever. Hey, every time you do, it's a waste because their whole mission is just to write weird stuff and make themselves, I guess, seem better than the other people that are in attendance by creating a lie. I met my girlfriend in high school. Well, okay, wouldn't you be with her instead of watching my stream? You would think, right? Nope. That's why I said people are just so weird. Like, I don't know what's wrong with them. God, it just feels so nice to be home alone on a Saturday. I never thought I'd be able to see it again. As I said before, sometimes streaming the car is pretty annoying when you have again the people making noises or it's like really hot or something. I know it's just so strange how they end up here on this stream then. Well, what it is that I mean they're just writing stupid stuff. They're not with anybody. They're not any more successful than you or I. Uh they just want to come online and pretend that they are. That's why I said it's really sad that grown people like pretend that they're better than someone else. Just again, and they don't even have proof of it. Like no evidence whatsoever. I'm better than you because I say I am, not because I can show you that I am. That's why when we do the triangle scam, we're going to talk about all of these different chicks that people tell you to appeal to, and like you look at what they as a group, like as a collective, have done that makes them worth doing all this stuff for. You can't find anything. I see that Eurodollar. He gave his advice and then he dipped. That's why I was trying to tell him to leave the stream earlier because I just can't deal with him and his his advising. He's trying to act like he's Billy Graham or something, giving all this unsolicited advice. No, Euro. I know you went to go shoot your cameo in that what's that movie called? In some Sony film. Oh, Craven, yeah. I know you I know you went to go and make your appearance in that. You're gonna be in the post credit scene. They're gonna have you playing um I don't know, Mysterio or something. Oh yeah, does this mean there aren't really a chance of the stream being interrupted for the first time in so long? Well, usually if I do it from the car, there's no interruption because people generally don't mess with others in cars. I've noticed. So yeah, we'll probably not have any issues here. Everybody that has keys to this place is out of town, so I should be good. Oh, you know, you weren't here for that stream, but like last Saturday, there was this woman, and she was when I was like at the Starbucks. She came with her, I guess, either boyfriend, partner, whatever. And I was like just talking on this because I didn't show her anything because I always had the camera to myself. But she had this like really nice. It was like a brown strapless or not strapless, like sleeveless dress, and it was like she had her hair done back like with the comb like in the back, and I was like, man, she looks. And I was thinking to myself, it's so sad that because we live in the Me Too era, I would just if I were like outside, just say, oh, you look nice, you know, just like a compliment, right? But because of the era that we're in, I didn't want to say anything. I mean, and I didn't ultimately, but it's like it's really sad that because of how backward stuff is and how everything is like a attempt to, you know, make you seem like you're this predator, you can't even like just genuinely pay someone a compliment anymore. You know, it always has to have some ulterior motive. Like we were talking about the woman from that one job that I asked her like, what are your hobbies? And she responded by talking about her going on her vacation with her boyfriend. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, oh man, you can't make any attempt at like getting to know somebody or even acting like decent, you know? It's crazy. So I said, if you see one of them, just admire from afar and say nothing. Yeah, because something as simple as a compliment can be misconstrued into some ulterior motive. Yeah, because I also thought if I go out and say, "Hey, you look nice," her, uh, boyfriend or whatever that guy was might think I'm trying to uh, make it a pass or whatever, and I really couldn't care less. Uh, I mean, I already talked about my discontent with women that have boyfriends, but nonetheless, it's like she looked really nice, uh, and it's very unfortunate that we're in such a backwards era that you can't even like be straight. Basically, you have to just act like here's this really attractive woman. Let me just pretend I don't see her or notice her. Just nothing whatsoever. No comments. I mean, it's sad that things are the way that they are. It really is. Mm. That's always my favorite way to sneeze. Grab the whole nose and just stop the stuff from spewing out. But you get my point that just it I really man, I just hate that stuff is the way it is. That's all there is to it. I hate that things are the way they are. I hate that I frequently see different chicks that I like the appearance of that I wouldn't even be asking out. I would just say, hey, you know, you look nice. I'm afraid to say that because this is the anti-man era. Like if you just want to pay someone a compliment or even like get to know someone in the most basic of ways and they happen to be female, it's like you're susceptible at any point to like basically being persecuted. It's like you're forced to not say anything. I mean, you know, I'm telling you, it's to protect yourself. Yeah, because I told you that when I was at that retailer and they said that it would be harassment to say a woman is your coworker is so attractive she should quit working there and become a model. I was like, man, there is no way in hell that if some woman told me that, I'd be like, oh my god, she complimented me and I felt so uncomfortable. I mean, like, what is that? Like, if you by the way, there actually was, and nobody will believe me, but there was a lady when I worked at that last retailer who like complimented my hands and said I should go into modeling for like hand modeling. And I was just thinking to myself, like, man, it's crazy how when we hear stuff like that, we're flattered. But if they hear something like that, they're disturbed. You know, it's just the Twilight Zone. Oh my God. Jedi says, I've learned to ignore them and act like they're not even there. Well, Jedi, look, I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. In fact, I encourage it because this is, again, they're trying to always get somebody in trouble. But you understand where sometimes you may see a woman that you think is really attractive or you just like the appearance of. And you may just genuinely want to say that, you like what she has on, whatever. And you're afraid or otherwise hesitant to do that because of a crappy engineered issue in society where now it's like offensive or invasive to just pay a simple compliment to a woman. They can basically say you're staring too long and it's predatory behavior, but how do you quantify that? That reminds me when I was in um 6th grade, I had a classmate who got into some kind of tit for tat with another classmate because they're like, why are you looking at me? Why do you keep doing this? And the teacher said to them, you wouldn't have been able to see what he was doing if you weren't looking at him. And all of us started laughing. But that's the same thing with chicks. They wouldn't be able to tell that you're staring at them unless they were staring at you. I mean, like, think about how else would they be able to see you unless they're looking on a security camera or something? Like, come on. Oh, it is really messed up. Dude, this is the era of absurdity and ridiculousness, and I don't even know what this is anymore. Like I told you, when I go to a job interview, it's a joke before I even walk in there. I'm like, all right, let's see how long it takes for them to say something that either pisses me off or them to waste my time. Let's find out. Let's see when we get in here, guys. All right, and then when you get nothing back, you're not surprised. Go to the next interview, same thing happens, right? They waste time. I mean, like everything just seems like it's a big parody of itself. Like I can't take this stuff seriously anymore. I take it seriously as far as like I believe I should get a job, whatever. Like okay, but I get the seriousness of that, but the employers are a joke. They don't want to hire people, or if they do hire people, it's not full time, or if they do hire people, are getting rid of them within weeks of hiring them, or threatening them within days of hiring. I mean, like, what is this? I'd love to know what the hell are we dealing with? Magumi, so that's really messed up. I mean, I don't stare at any, but that's crazy. So, what about women? Are they allowed to stare at anyone? I was looking at that woman from in the car because I did genuinely think she was attractive and she looked nice. Uh, but like I said, I think it's kind of interesting how like there are chicks I don't think are attractive. I just don't say anything to them at all. And then even the ones that you think look nice, you still are afraid to say something to because in the Me Too era, every compliment is like a bad thing and you shouldn't do it and how dare you and oh my God. Well, it is. They can spin anything into being harassment. Like if I came and said, "Oh, someone said I had a nice jacket," which I have received that compliment quite a few times in person, by the way. And I said, "Oh, that made me feel uncomfortable," I would get laughed at. But if a woman says, "Oh, he said I have a nice jacket," people will actually like if she goes, "Oh, I felt uncomfortable," then people will acquiesce to that crap. He didn't touch you. He didn't say I want to get what's underneath the jacket or any other perverse comment. He just simply said, "I like your jacket," and you're like, "I felt so uncomfortable. Look at what he did to me." I mean, guys, this is a joke. I try not to stare because I wouldn't want them to misconstrue it into something malicious. I mean, I look from the comfort of the car because they're not going to come up to the car and say, "Why are you staring at me?" I know that at least because they're not even looking at me anyway. But it's just one of those things where I get it. I understand if someone doesn't want to, be part of that crap. I really do get it. I if you don't want to, what's it called, like look at them or be worried that they're looking at you or whatever. I completely understand where you just say, "All right, forget it." It makes a lot of sense to me. But you can look anywhere you want with your own eyes. Yeah, and dude, it's like my thing is if you're looking at someone's butt, what like okay, I get the implication there, but if you simply just look at someone just with like a general blank express. I don't. They're trying too hard to find an issue with something like he looked at me. Like, okay, did he say anything? No, but his eyes they said everything. And what a joke. Hey, we better never catch you looking at someone. Not in the Me Too era. You can't look at anybody. That's why when you're watching one of my streams, make sure you click to another tab and look at whatever else you're looking at over there. You can't even look at me on the video. Dude, I swear, this is the things get worse and worse every year with this like gender relation stuff. Are we going to come to a point where we need to like not look at many chicks in public wherever you go? I don't know, man. It just seems like too much stuff is getting harder and harder. But then again, I've stopped caring. Well, look, I'm not saying you shouldn't not care. I'm just saying there are men who still want to be with a woman, and all of this nonsensical female sided crap makes it harder for them to do that. You need to constantly shield your vision from looking at any women. I'm not going to say any because I mean, like if a woman works like a store you're shopping at or whatever, I don't think you'll get in trouble for that. But I'm just saying more often than not, if you try to speak to one of them, that's where the issue comes into effect. Because like the grocery store I go to, I'd say the majority of people that work there are female. Like when I go to the self checkout, it's usually been a woman that's there. And I mentioned before they had like one person that worked there. I thought she was really nice looking. Of course, I didn't say anything to her because why bother? But I'm just saying that if they work somewhere that you're getting a good from or whatever, like that's I don't think that's the same as the other way. Same here, dude. I'd love to see a caring companion in the family at 25, but reality says otherwise. I try to ignore it, but lovebirds are all over the damn place. My mom always reminds me who's getting married and so on. Yeah, it's really lame when you want something out of a relationship with a woman and then you just can't get it. It's that's why I said if you want to come online and call them stupid and scream and be pissed off, I think you should have the right to do that. If you want to come on here and talk about how dumb they are, and I fully endorse it. I'm not going to tell you it's not lame. There are men that have ended their own life over this. Like I'm not saying that to be funny. It's a fact. There are men who have ended their own life over not being with a woman or feeling as if they're alone and going to be alone forever. Like this is awful. If I could remove those feelings, believe me, I would. But biology says otherwise, and I can't stand it. But that's what I'm saying. Any way you want to feel about this stuff, I don't think is invalid. I don't know them personally, but I've heard of like instances where it happened. This honestly, what a lot of us guys have only really wanted out of speaking to a woman and putting up with so much garbage from others. Seriously, yeah, and that's the problem with having everything slanted in their favor. They just get to kind of coast off of having all these different men show interest in them, and then if you're a guy, you're just there's really nothing left for you. It's kind of like people just sort of expecting you to it's how do I explain it? There's an expectation of you, but there's no expectation of women. Basically, there's a rules for thee, but not for me. So they get to kind of just go with the flow and have whatever comes their way come their way, and then you have to like pull for any little scraps and crumbs that come that show up, and oftentimes they don't. Like I was even reflecting on this in the video. I said the only things I didn't do when it came to that chick stuff um was go to a different city or state or country, because we already talked before about how foreign chicks are just as bad as American chicks. All that little passport boy BS is, you could take that and just throw it in the garbage can. But it was that and that gym stuff, which I already said before. There's guys that go to the gym to get turned down by chicks, and doing all that just isn't worth it. So it's like sometimes I really have to remind myself. I there was a point in like 2015, roughly around when I made that first romance video. There was a point where I was going on Reddit, and like there are for our section, woman for man, like every day, and DMing like 5 or 6 different chicks, and I was like, this is crazy. Like one day I sat back and I was like, we've been doing this crap for how many months, and it's the same thing every time. So that's why I said, like, when I just think about how much was done before I just got to the point of saying to hell with it, um, I don't feel bad. Like anytime I'm like thinking, oh, I messed up and I should have done this, I just go and reread those messages in my DMs from however many years ago, or watch the video I did where I show all the different screenshots, and I know that we did basically everything within our power at the time to even to reverse this. Like you don't talk to 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 chicks between the internet and real life, social media, the malls, all these other places, and then just feel bad about not being one of them. It's like, no, they didn't want to be with anybody. That's why I said even the ones that tell you that they supposedly like you are full of crap. I don't take anything they say seriously anymore, because I showed the screenshots of like the one broad that was asking me all the personal questions, and she was in the BDSM, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll abide by this or acquiesce to this. And then she was like, well, I'm glad that nothing happened yet, and I don't think it's gonna work out. Goodbye forever. It's like, what is that? That's why I said they're just an extremely ridiculous group of people. Let's not count the amount of times you said hello to a chick and they either just ignored you or blocked you. Oh yeah, I told you I had 2 of them who saw what I look like and then stopped speaking to me. But they're going to tell you about how it's only men that care about the way their partner. Man, get out of my face. Chicks are more shallow than any other entity or organization in this world, man. We said before, you go on somewhere like Tinder, they're not swiping right on you because your personality is so amazing and you've done all these great things for people. No, they're doing that because they see a picture. If they don't like it, they ignore you. Doesn't matter what your personality is. You could be the most entertaining person in the world. That's why I said I used Tinder for probably like a week and then just deleted that whole thing. I said this is stupid. No, dating sites, that was like the one avenue where I was on there for the shortest time, maybe like a few weeks on each site. Because again, it's just a bunch of guys trying to get the attention of chicks, and nothing happens. I saw some poll about on Tinder. It's like 3 guys for every 1 chick or something. And I was like, yeah, I'm glad I got off of that crap. Well, look, if people want to sit on there and waste their time with that stupid site, then let them. I personally don't support any dating websites, like especially the ones that make you pay for them. I think they're all just a big waste of time for all the guys involved anyway. The chicks get their big suck off fest, but still. Well, I don't use TikTok, so I can't comment on it. I might have to use it after all the buzz I've been hearing about Williamson on there. See what the hell is going on. Launch an investigation. No, Instagram's bad too. Dude, my favorite thing is like chicks will post pictures. Like they'll just post a picture of themselves, right? It doesn't have to be like any of the, the usual dirty stuff. They'll post a picture of themselves. And I'm not joking, they'll have 5, 10, like they'll have 100 likes. It's just picture of them just looking at the camera. And oh my God, you look so nice. God, man. I'm gonna go on there and see what all the fuss about TikTok is. What's the deal with this site? Why is everybody mentioning it? Imagine if I got banned off TikTok because I didn't. It took me too long to post a video or like whatever the little clip thing they do is. They're like you, and they repeat verbatim that same stupid line. You didn't have the speed we were looking from. Like what? Everybody's a damn Barbie doll. So wait a second. You mean if I sign up for this site, they're gonna give me a blonde wig and a pink car? Let me sign up. Does the car come fully equipped with gas? That would be fun to just buy a car and just drive it right off the lot. I always imagine how that feels. Every woman is a mini celebrity, more like. And the crazy part is you have chicks on these sites, they don't even have that many followers. They have like look, I could get if it was some woman who has 100,000, 200,000, a million. Some of these chicks have like 1,000, 500, and they really act like they're better than you. Like it's crazy. It's like give me a break. I tell you, there was a chick about 5 years ago rather, who asked me to give her a shout out. I said, I'm not doing that. So as hard as I had to work to even get to where I am, nope. Sorry. You can enjoy your 10 subs. I'm not helping you. I'm not giving any endorsements. I didn't get any, so they're not getting any. That's how that works. You want to play in the feminist society? We can be fair, but if we're fair, then it's not going to be in their favor. If we really start being fair, they're going to see how much stuff is like to their detriment. Yeah, it's really sad that people are the way they are. The era of social media, selfies, short, stupid dance videos, MB, pop, and hip hop have turned humans into lifeless, zombified clones. I tell you, the saddest thing to me about people and their interest in like pop culture is that we're at a point now where people don't even know who basic historical figures are, but they know they know singers and rappers that they don't even listen to. Like I asked my friend, "Do you know who Jesse Jackson is?" He's like, I said, you know that, and look, I'm just gonna say this, and I don't care who gets mad. I think if you are, I don't care who gets mad. I think if you're African American and you're over the age of hell, let's say 15, and you don't know who Jesse is, you're an idiot. Um, and I say that because Jackson was the second black person ever to launch a national campaign for president. I mean, like his campaign was one of the forerunners for the later successful effort by Obama. Like it's really nuts that someone who's been that influential, like I'm not even asking for, because there's a whole bunch of different civil rights figures I think are important, like Julian Bond or like basically the VP of the civil rights movement, Ralph Abernathy. But it's like even someone who's been around for 40, 50, 60 years, like even a person like that, these people don't, and it's like it's not even just like little kids, grown adults don't know. And these are adults that went that it's not like uh they grew up in some third world country where there's no computers or books. This is a person who has a college degree. But I tell you that like people have, this is my biggest problem with them. They have no like semblance of sense of history or understanding of the world around. It's so, and that's why Megumi, we were talking about how you have single payer in the UK. A lot of conservatives are able to like pretend that that somehow means we're going to have a dictatorship in America if we implement single payer, because a lot of Americans don't know about the healthcare system of other countries. Well, that was the point I made to him. It's like, all of these different rappers and singers that you don't even listen to, but you don't know a basic figure like Jackson. I mean, I don't understand that at all, man. It's crazy. Dude, people just they don't care. They let me like I said this before. They have these extremely mundane lives where they go to work and maybe they go to school and they go and they listen to some music, hang out with their little stupid friends, and then that's it. And maybe they'll care about something serious every 4 years when there's a presidential election. But other than that, they're not really paying attention to anything. That's why every time you talk to them, they're so surprised and marveling at the various things that you're, because they don't do any research whatsoever. Their whole existence is to just get by. Like, okay, I work my job. Oh, you want me to know who? I asked him and I asked somebody else who's the second president. They couldn't tell me. And I was like, again, basic stuff. You're not asking them for them to name all of them, even though I could. But it's like you're not asking for naming all of them. You just want to know who was the second U.S. president, and they can't even tell you. And it drives me crazy because it's like this is a man who, out of the first 12, was one of only two that didn't own slaves. This was the first VP. I mean, he even had his own HBO show. And you don't know who that is? And remember, these aren't like people from, like, if Megumi doesn't know, whatever, he's from another country, but these are Americans. And they can't even name basic historical figures. People that are on their own damn money. I mean, it's so pathetic, man. This is the era of low information and, again, just mundane lives. They just exist to get along. Megumi, imagine if every day you open your wallet, you see a $20 bill, and there's Jackson. I'm like, okay, who was the seventh president? I don't know. It's like he's right in front of you. The only Jackson they know is Michael Jackson or Janet Jackson. We live in the age where information is more easily accessible than at any other point in our existence, but that doesn't mean people are actually using it. No, it's like, Megumi, imagine if you were the second black person to ever run for the highest office in the land, and like the second one to like have a national campaign right across all 50 states out of anybody ever. And within one generation of that second time you ran, this is back in 1988. There's a bunch of black kids who don't even know who you are, and you haven't disappeared. You've been an activist. You've been involved with various people who actually did win that office, and they don't know who you are. Their parents and their grandparents know who you are because they were around, but you don't even get mentioned. There is no way I'd be that ignorant to know of really huge, influential people, of the portraits on money. No, I mean, that's crazy. I didn't even bother asking him if he knew who Winston Churchill was, because I already know the answer to that, and that's even more pathetic. Churchill is one of the most influential historical figures of the whole damn 20th century. Like, he gets mentioned all the time by people who aren't even from the UK, like invoking him and talking about different speeches he gave. And I mean, it's nuts. Especially in an age you can easily access this on any computer. Exactly. How do you think I know about it? I don't have 100 books. I just went online, and you can find biographers talking about these different people that they've written books on, or some websites have free books. You know, I mean, even for as bad as WikiPiss is, they've also had like a lot of information. Like when they're not messing with and deleting stuff, they're also decent when it comes to at least giving you basic information about stuff. God, it's sad, man. It really is. And it's even more disturbing when you think they only know who King is because of the holiday. Like, if the holiday didn't exist, they just would have no idea who that was. I wouldn't be surprised either, because there's a lot of them who don't know who RFK was. And it's like RFK was killed 2 months after King. They actually have several memorials that are dedicated to both of them. So if that holiday didn't exist, then there really would be like another just portion of ignorance. It's sad. They are living very mundane lives. Well, they just have no desire to be a part of anything beyond themselves. Like, they're just a bunch of ignorant people who just don't care. Like, we talked about this before, Megumi. We had a string of fake news articles, and I even related this story of how, so like, the Queen died back in September. I had a person who I spoke to, and they said, well, we were talking, this is like back in May or earlier in that same year, right? Oh, the Queen died. And I was like, what? And I looked it up, and I was like, no, she didn't die. What are you talking about? He's like, well, she is old, and I saw this new. But see, that's the kind of thing that happens when someone doesn't care. A person who cares, like yours truly, will go and look it up and be like, wait, there's no way that could have just happened. Like, because why isn't anyone on TV talking about this? But when people they don't watch the news, and they don't look at anything beyond the surface of things, if they see a news article that says something, they'll just believe it, not because there's proof. They just don't care. They'll basically soak up any info, especially on a very surface level. And it's really disturbing, because if I weren't around and saying, hey, no, this is actually the way this is, then they just wouldn't even know. Like, we were talking about how Biden is getting primaried, and how both of his competitors, especially Williamson, like, are just not being talked about on TV, and that's done on purpose because they know that most people do not look for this stuff independently. So if it's not mentioned them on TV, then the chances of that person being known diminish, because TV gives free advertising a lot of times to different candidates. And I was so disturbed by how that's really the era that we live in, that if you just don't mention a person on TV, people they just won't know who they are. Like, if they don't have someone around them who says, hey, this is who this person is, they just have no idea. Again, not because the information is unavailable to them, they just don't care. That's all it comes down to. They just don't care. Dude, when he couldn't name the second president of the United States, I put my hand over my face. They always talk about like Americans always speak disparagingly of their own country. I'm not ashamed to be an American. I'm ashamed to be um of the same nationality as a lot of ignorant people. That's what I'm ashamed of. I mean, Euro, I doubt they know any founding fathers again besides Washington. So I wouldn't even bother like mentioning him either. I remember it was Ben Franklin that had one of my favorite quotes. Believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see. When he couldn't name Adams, I just put my hand over my face. I was like, what an embarrassment. And I guess, my thing is like, okay, some people lived a really long time ago, so it's going to be like harder to recall all, but it's like, I'm talking about maybe 7 people, 8 people, pretty small group of people, right? And dude, like we're at a point where even more recent people, there's children who don't know who they are. There's like grown adults who don't know who they are. Like, my, I was telling this boy about Ted Kennedy, and he was like, he didn't know who that was. And I said, "Are you serious?" Because that was Megumi doesn't know, but like when he died, I was in 5th grade, and everybody was talking about it. It was all over the news. It was a state funeral. I mean, it's crazy that someone who died when I was like half of the age I am now, we're at a point where even a person that all that fuss was made about, you now have people like, who was that? That's nuts. Jedi, I'm gonna dispute that. I'm gonna dispute the Lincoln one because there is the Lincoln Memorial, and then you have like the different movies and stuff. I don't. I think out of any of them, he's probably the least non-remembered one. Like people invoke him that don't even follow this stuff, so I'm gonna dispute that one. But if you're talking about again some of the more modern ones, then yeah. No, the ones on Mount Rushmore tend to be the ones that people don't, go, who's that? Oh, Megumi, everybody knows Lincoln. Dude, people can't even name any of the other ones from the 19th century besides him, which is actually really sad because Polk, the 11th one, was very important too. He's actually the one who, under his tenure, we gained the state of California during the Mexican-American War. I was actually going to make a documentary about him at one point where I wrote like a whole script, but I just kind of kept getting sidetracked with other stuff. Yeah, Jedi, I'm going to just say that group of Washington, Jefferson, I'd argue both of the Roosevelts, but more so FDR than TR, and Lincoln are the ones that most people, I would say, still can recall. But like there are some relatively modern ones that people just know nothing about, which is all the more depressing because it's like these weren't people that were alive 100 years ago. This was all in the span of, the last 50 or 60 years, and people are like, who's that? Who was that? Well, we'll see. I mean, again, it's been over 150 years since Lincoln died, and people still know who he is. So we will find out. We will definitely find out. I don't know. There are some people who are able to make, to stand the test of time as far as remembrances. So again, we will see. I think it's a little too early to fully declare this, but it all just has to do with ignorance and people not caring. That makes all the more tragic. It does vary. Dude, I remember when I was on WikiPiss one time and they were and like I think it was some article linked to William Jennings Bryan. I was like, who the hell is that? And then I clicked it and it was like, oh, that was the three-time Democratic presidential candidate who invented the modern stump speech, where candidates travel around the whole U.S. to get votes. Before that, they never did that before. Like, oh. And I saw there was someone that mentioned him a few years ago. So there again, like there are people who do remember some of this stuff, but like the ones who follow it. But just like the general public, they're goofy. Some they remember, some they don't. It's really sad, one way or the other. Dude, when that person said they didn't know who Ted Kennedy was, I almost fell on the floor laughing. I was like, for as he was in the Senate from when my grandparents were in uh let's see, high school, and yeah, high school to when I was in preschool, like 46 years. Everybody knew who that was. People wouldn't even know their own damn senator knew who he was. That was hilarious, man. Ignorance goes fully in hand, I'm telling you. No, it's real sad. But I said, like, people who don't live in America, I don't expect them to know this stuff. Like I expect infant, just like I'll fully admit I'm familiar with some UK prime ministers, though more so the ones of the 20th century. Uh so like again, I admit I'm not that knowledgeable of them. But again, it's like I don't live over there, so I don't feel that bad. I do think a part of that is due to like, you know, people who follow this stuff playing favorites. Because when I was a kid, the only ones, or when I was, excuse me, first getting into this stuff, the only ones people would talk about were Churchill and Thatcher. Other than that, I didn't really hear much about the other ones. So sometimes this stuff is a result of like people just, yeah, Blair. Well, he was like what, around the like late 90s, early 2000s. But really, when I first started like getting into this stuff, that was when Theresa May was, you know, the face that ran the place, and then she resigned and got replaced by Johnson. And then you had what was that one lady, Truss, for like a month, and then she resigned. I still can't believe that happened. You guys had a prime minister for 6 weeks. You had a brand new, fresh faced prime minister for a month and a half, and then she was like, I mean, I don't think she'll be remembered by like she'll be remembered in history the same way that people remember William Henry Harrison, the ninth U.S. president, where he was in office for 1 month before he died. Um, it's going to be that same kind of like footnote thing of, oh, this is the shortest serving one, that type of thing. I'm surprised Sunak has stayed for as many months as it's been. I thought that was just going to be like a new thing where you guys just go through a prime minister every month and a half or every couple of weeks. That was really surprised, and I did not expect that. But yeah, it's like I said, I don't expect people from other places to know this stuff as much as Americans. But when Americans don't know it, it's even more tragic and sad and pathetic and really depressing because it's like a lot of this stuff happened as recently as like 30, 40, 50 years ago is relatively recent as far as world history and American history and just it's all been within the span of a single person's lifetime. So it's really sad that like you have people who haven't even been like not active for 10 years or whatever. But I guess what I'm getting at is it's got like I brought up the thing with Jackson because it's so bad that even people who are alive and still doing things, these people don't know about. They have no idea of them. And again, unless they have someone around them who mentions them like I do, then they're just not going to know. She also was like one of the last people to be viewed publicly along with Queen Elizabeth when she was alive. Congratulations. Yeah, that was like a few days before the Queen died. People were talking about the irony of that, like the long like she was the last prime minister under the longest serving British matriarch, or I guess monarch, excuse me, and had the shortest tenure. Like the final PM of the longest serving British monarch has the shortest tenure out of any of the ones before. That's very ironic. Yeah, I do wish the Queen had survived because I've never really been the biggest fan of Charles, so I would prefer if she made it to 100 or above that. I still feel like that would have been nice. You ever notice with a lot of older people that are like in their 90s, they'll be like perfectly fine, or at least like maybe they have some health stuff here or there, but for the most part they can get around, they can move around, there's no issue. And then all of a sudden one day you'll just hear that something happened to them. Like you'll like um they'll be able to just do stuff publicly the way they've always done for years, and then one day you just wake up and on the news it says they passed away or they were found dead or whatever. Because that's kind of how it was with the with like the older Bushes. I mean, Barbara like died out of nowhere, just completely unexpected, and then for like the next 7 or 8 months, people they gave little updates about the older Bush, but not really anything too whatever. Like, oh, he went to the doctor, drove over here, and then one day on CNN, I read the big headline. Yeah, Jedi Carter was the same way. He was traveling around to different countries in the Middle East and getting on planes and hosting forums all the way up into his late 90s. And then 2 months ago, it's announced that he's entered hospice care. And I'm like, damn it. That's a classic case of age catching up to them. Well, yeah, but you get what I'm saying of how, like, if someone is able to walk around and do things at 97 and then 3 months later they're in a wheelchair and then like 4 months later they're deceased, you get where that's kind of like, what the hell? Like, damn, that deteriorated quickly. It is a scary thing. And I've had that happen with some of my relatives as well. And it's really depressing because you think this person's gonna be around for like let's say another year. Because again, they're not constantly complaining about pain. Maybe they have their own little troubles here or there. But for the most part, they seem to be okay. And then a month, 2 months later, they're deceased. I mean, I know someone who up until 3 weeks before they died, I swear to you, they were driving. Like it's crazy. And they weren't 90, they weren't 80. It's like that. That's why I said life just it's got a lot of depressing parts of it. When you just keep losing and losing people you care about, and then you gotta sit here with all this woman stuff, and that goes nowhere. It just gets too depressing, man. Well, Megumi, you get what I'm saying about the Carter thing, right? Like, here's a man who, all the way into his late 90s, is able to travel to different countries and host events at his center. And it's, again, fine. Like, sometimes he trips, sometimes he falls, whatever. But again, always recovers. And you get some updates. He's taking it easy for a few days, again, recovering, whatever. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, after multiple hospital stays, this person announces they're going to just stay at home for the rest of their life, and which doesn't sound like it's going to be that long. It's like, man, like that all just came to a really abrupt end, you know? I don't want to go down that route. I hope to be out no later than 50 or even 40, or at least be healthy and mobile. Well, I said that before, that like one of the things about getting older is supposed to be like the joy of like seeing the people you care about grow up as well. Like, you have kids, you have a wife, whatever. But when you're denied that stuff, a lot of the purposes of being around past 50 are just kind of like whatever. Like, that's why I said for me, I'm not excited to, for any of that stuff as far as from like on a personal level. No, like they artificially robbed men of things that are supposed to be part of aging, and like things you're supposed to look forward to, because you can't look forward to it. It's always the same crap. It's always the time wasting and the never ending checkbox of how many times you can talk to these bastards. And that's why I said that, like, people who want to end their life with regard to that woman stuff, I get it. Because, well, that's what I'm saying, that like it used to be that talking to a woman and trying to get a job and all that stuff was normal. And it was if it wasn't easy, it was simple. You just ask out some women, some of them like you, some of them don't. And then, you get a few dates with some of them, whatever. And then you and the person compromise, you have some arguments, but you try to stay together. It's just one of those things where it used to be straightforward and simple. It wasn't always easy, but it was something that was manageable and doable. Now it's just a bunch of garbage. It's hard, especially when you're reminded day by day. Like I said, it's just really depressing that we even have to. I want to live on, be in peace. Oh, but in peace. Oh, man. I'm just saying that when you start thinking about a lot of long-term stuff, it gets really depressing. Like, you're going to live until, let's say, like 90 or 80. And it's like, okay, so when you live until that age, what good things are going to happen? Are you going to have kids that have children and be a grandparent? Oh, wait, that's right. You don't even have any damn family. So it's, you know what I mean? Like, when you get robbed of those things in the present day, it makes the prospect of the future seem even more just depressing and like not even worth being around for. But this is the kind of stuff that people don't want to talk about, because they always try to, like, sit here with their lies about men think they're entitled to something. It's like, no, if you have a desire and you're willing to work for it, because otherwise you wouldn't talk to these stupid chicks, and it doesn't go the way you want, you have a right to be upset over that. You have a right to sit back and say, this is stupid. That's true. I always hear older couples talk about how they met and how long they've been together, and I'm like, wait a minute, hold on now. What the hell am I missing here? Well, I already said before, I think chicks in general are just not of the quality of their, you know, I don't want to say forefathers or foremothers, but the ones that came before them. Because, like I said, you go back to the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, even early 2000s. There were no 50 men trying to talk to a woman on her Instagram or Facebook or any other crap. No, people will never acknowledge the role social media had in destroying chicks and making them as rancid as a group of, as they are. Dude, I'm telling you, when I do that triangle scam video, the point I'm going to make, this is the most important to take away from it, is that just because someone is female, it does not make them better than you. Just because she has 5 guys, 10 guys, 30, 50, 70 asking her out, it doesn't make her better than you. The only reason she even has so many men asking her out is because they're afraid if they don't ask someone out, they're never going to get anything. But that still doesn't make her above you and I. Again, if you took these chicks and you got a little whiteboard and you asked to name their individual accomplishments, you probably could write nothing because there's nothing to show. Why do you think people tell you if you're a guy you need to have this amount of money and this amount of, because they know that they're nothing. And like, think of how sad, like, Megumi, imagine if people told you you have earned your worth. Oh, did you improve the lives of the people around you? Did you accomplish some great accolade? Oh no, you have a banana, so you're better than women. Like, what is that? That's your claim to fame? That's what causes you to think that you're hot stuff, that you're like this person that we all must try to acquiesce to the petulance of? Really? This stuff isn't hard to notice or work out of yourself. You can see the disparity. But the disparity exists because of, like, again, the cultural stuff of wanting to be equal to men, right? Women want to be equal to men, but then wanting to retain certain parts of the patriarchy that are beneficial to them. Like, why do courts favor the mother when it comes to divorce and child support? Because in the past, mothers stayed at home with the child, were with them more often. So that same original patriarchal system, they like it because it helps them keep their kids. But if they were being fair, then they would tell them to, like, to waive that and not acknowledge that. Why is it that women are fine with men asking them out, but not asking out men? Because they like that part of the patriarchy. They like the assertive man having to come up and do all the hard work while they get to sit on their little castle and wait around for all the guys to come and talk to me. Like, that's what they do. They like the patriarchy and old-fashioned traditional things when they're benefited by it. Dude, if that broad was waiting for me to come in that castle and rescue her, she's gonna be waiting for a long time. They're gonna have to get the damn was it the carpenters to come and clean all the skeletons out of there. They're like, well, what happened? Or she was waiting for him to come and feed her and be there for her, but he never showed. Seriously, I see attractive chicks all the time. I don't say anything to them because there's no point. They're just a waste, man. Too many lies have been told, and too many things have not progressed in any meaningful way, and that causes me to look at them and say that they're full of crap, that they're not serious. I mean, it's just a big joke. It's a parody of itself. She waited in that castle for a long time. She waiting in that castle for a lifetime. Hell, she'll probably be waiting in that castle for so long because I'm trying to have the guy at the tailor fix all the damn buttons off my shirts that stupid washing machine's been messing up. That's a parody, and the job interviews are also a parody. It's just so sad because, like, when you want something, people tell you to go out and try to get it. And you do that, right? By, like, asking out the chicks, going to the stupid job interviews. And then when nothing improves, guess who gets a finger pointed in their face and told they're no good? And that's really sad because I don't understand how people can have such a problem with what's the way of putting it, with guys, right? But no issue with chicks, because like this stuff is like, I freely admit, if men didn't ask out women as much as they do, this situation would probably change overnight. Um, but like, chicks have played their own role in that as well. Like, there's nothing stopping women from asking out men they think are attractive, but they don't care because they know they don't have to. You know what I'm saying, right? That like both sides have played some role in the deterioration of it. It's just so sad, man. I'm telling you, like, because they are benefiting from this nonsense. And so I said when I do the video, the whole point of it is don't ever let someone get you to believe that just because they have a triangle, they're better than you. I'll never forget. I had one idiot. He came on my stream and he wrote something to the effect of, if a guy, I'm trying to remember what the exact words were. But he was like, if a guy looks at Beyonce and can't get with her, he has to settle for Oprah. And I'm like, you stupid, brain dead bastard. Oprah's one of the most successful women, not just in America, but in the world. And you're gonna talk about her as a downgrade, as something to settle for? Like, because he's going off of appearance. I'm like, dude, that is like, you have to be a really egotistical. You know what guy I'm talking about. It's one of those like pro chick dudes, but it's like, that's really the person you using as an example of what you settle for. You'd be lucky if she even looked at you, much less allowed you to. Man, who the hell are you? Man, Oprah wouldn't even probably wouldn't even let him clean her dirty pump, but he gonna sit here talking about having her settle for him. What a joke! She's the one you settle for. Man, give me a break. If any of these chicks had 1/10 of the money that Oprah has and 1/4 of the fame that she has, they wouldn't be online posting scantily clad pictures. Yeah, very successful. So what kind of comparisons? I don't know. He's only talking about appearance. And it's like, some of us don't. I mean, I hate to say this because but you get what I'm saying. Some men do not like the way Beyonce looks. So it's like you're still assuming, like, you're going off of your own belief system and trying to apply it to everybody. He really said settle for Oprah. Dude, you'd be lucky if she even looked at you, much less settle. Give me a break. Like, that's a parody, dude. That is, I don't know who the hell these people think they are. I really don't. But you must have a massive ego if you think you're the she would have to, you would have to settle for her. It's the other way around. I tell you, my favorite story with her was the one where when Stacey Abrams was running for governor of Georgia, and this person, some idiot, called like different people, like it was a man, right? He was like, "This is the magical Negro, Oprah Winfrey speaking," and like telling people to vote for Abrams, and if you vote for her, you get a car, and you get a car, and you get a car, and then this one group that was covering the story was like, I don't think that was Oprah Winfrey. It was just so stupid. You get a car and you get a car, just for voting for somebody. They really said this is the magical Negro. Like, now I'm imagining Oprah in the damn what's the fairy godmother from Cinderella, little one. If you don't believe me, I can find that clip. That I'll clip it next time for another stream. That thing was, Oh my God. The magical Negro. I'm probably gonna get demonetized for saying it, but whatever. Where she just waves around the wall and all these cars start falling from the sky for everybody that voted for her. Oh, Megumi, another person that people don't remember. Well, people that were there remember, but their kids don't. Is Tom Bradley? That was the mayor, the longest serving mayor of LA. He was the first. He was the second African American mayor of a major city in America, and the first African American mayor of LA. And in I think it was 82 and 86, he ran for governor of California. And the first time he lost by one slim, tiny point. And you gotta imagine when you lose by such a little thin margin, it would piss you off. But like I was so disturbed by how people who were around remember that, but then their kids they don't mention like, hey, this was literally the second black mayor of a major American city ever, who almost won when he ran for governor in the 80s, back when the US was supposedly so bigoted, you know. That there's a whole thing called the Bradley effect, where now when a minority candidate runs against someone who's white and people in the poll say they're going to vote for the black person, then they don't, or they vote for the other person. Yeah, he lost by one little tiny slim point, man. That's a real thing people do, where they tell a pollster, I'm going to vote for the black person, and then they either don't even vote or they vote for the other person. But he's still an important figure in California history because, again, second black mayor of a major American city, who who, who was the longest serving mayor out of any of them, 20 years, and he almost won running for governor. And his loss, led to a term that is still in effect today, the Bradley effect. And we actually saw the same thing happen during the 2018 midterm, where there was a black guy. His name was Gillum. He was in Florida running against DeSantis. He almost won. It was a really razor thin, tight margin, but he lost. And the same thing happened in Georgia with Abrams versus Kemp. She was black and he was, whatever. And then just barely lost as well. And I was just like, damn, we're never gonna get past this. We're gonna keep having these different black candidates that just barely lose. That's like the worst feeling in the world. Like if I ran for something and I lost by 5, 10, 20 points, like whatever, but to just like to like lose by a hair is the worst thing in the world, just because if like just a few more people voted. That stuff is awful. That's got to be the worst possible feeling. But you don't think it's sad that you have like black kids and black adults who live in LA and they don't even know who the first black mayor was? Like, you don't think that's kind of like really sad that he achieved such an impressive feat at the time that he did it, and like they don't even know who he was? I just think that's really sad. Historical figures, you can make the case for why they're important, but it's hard to make the case for why people are so damn ignorant they can't even look them up. It's really pathetic. Well, look, I've been going for almost 3 hours now. Again, it's been nice to just have the place to myself on a Saturday at last. And I'm gonna go up to the market because that's the only thing I usually do on the weekend, or I guess on Saturday anyway. Just get some groceries because nobody else gets them. So thanks for showing up, Megumi, Jedi Master, Euro dollar trader with the I instead of an E. You betrayed me, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. I hope your buttons don't get taken by any stupid machines. And I hope you don't have any job interviews that waste your time and have you waste a bunch of gas for nothing. And again, thanks, Megumi, for the donation. I really appreciate it. So have a good rest of your day.